9 a.m. public hearing for annexation and reclassification reports for DD 103. You want to make a motion to open it?
Well, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for annexation and reclassification reports for DD 103.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public hearing is open.
Okay.
Get a report here.
Yes, I'll just summarize this quickly. We're working on the reclass for this. We discovered some ground that looks like it should be part of 103. Now, as recently as this morning, we got some tile maps that show us that this report's probably going to have to be amended. So, and in likelihood, then we will have to amend the reclass too. But I would just go over it with you very quickly. This, you can see the highlighted area down into the very south end of this. That's the area that we had proposed for annexation. Somewhere there's some records that show a county tile coming into the very northwest corner of the southeast quarter of 9. That's that shaded area. Now what we got this morning was some tile maps that show the majority of that quarter going to the southeast. So we will need to adjust this. And what that would mean is just continue this hearing to a specific time and date. And what I agreed to do is review the contours in this area and see if I can't confirm that this needs to be adjusted. It looks like it does.
Now the private tiles that are...
Yes, yep, private tiles. So, even with this, we only had like 33 acres to 34 acres coming in. It's going to be very small number of acres, if any, once we review this. So, this was submitted. You set the hearing on it. That's why we're here today. And the only right thing to do is get it as accurate as we can using this recent information. So, I don't know if any landowners want to comment on that or not.
So you said that it was possibly 36 acres, 33 acres, but that's the portion that's on my land, but there's also on Kirby Knudsen, that's 27 acres.
across the road.
Yeah, across the road, across
Well,
the blacktop.
We're not annexing any of Kirby's.
No, that's correct.
So,
No, but for the,
But the boundary of the DD 103, I don't think is correct in that area.
yeah, so for the reclassification.
that's going to affect the reclassification. There won't be any annexation. We won't be adjusting the acres, but we'll handle Kirby's in the reclassification where some of his water that's shown in the district goes another way. So that will be adjusted in the reclassification.
For what? The previous.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yep. So, yeah. So hopefully that way we can take care of all this and get it as absolutely accurate as possible. You don't have to republish or anything. You guys are familiar with this. You've been through it. Don't have to republish again, but we'll come back with an amendment for the time you set it for. And I guess I'd like a little time to be sure we get it handled. I'm not sure what your schedule is like, Chris.
Well, I'm gone the middle to end of February,
Okay,
and you're gone
middle of March.
middle of March. So I don't know if it's a concern that we have it right away, or if you want to wait.
I don't think it's an emergency.
Okay.
Certainly not.
At the end of March or something?
Yeah,
Do you want to do that?
that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd work really well for me.
The thing then that is just something for you guys to think about, if Susan's no longer in it, that remonstrance, did you want to rethink that? Because then that wouldn't apply.
But
I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch that project. I just want you guys to know that if you did something her acres are out of it and her vote is out. Therefore, it wouldn't have been a remonstrance and the project would have went through.
But the remonstrance stands now.
Right, but if we classified it and somebody brought it up again, I'm just want everybody to know
The numbers would change.
the numbers would change.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
We'll get you.
I didn't want that to be a secret.
That's a good thing.
So are we looking at the 20th or the 27th?
Either one would be fine. I'll be back like the Friday before the 20th, so,
So you'll be done by the 20th?
yeah.
Okay.
I'll be back.
Alright. We can't do any action until we're out of the public hearing, right? Or do we do this action in the public?
I think we should close it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we should probably get any more, I'll
Yeah,
put out
any
another
more.
request for any more comments in the public hearing on this one. Hearing none?
Motion to close the public hearing for the annexation reclassification reports for DD 103.
I'll second the motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same. Motion carries. Okay, so action-wise, we're gonna, motion for a continuation of the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion to continue the public hearing till be continued on March 20th at 9 a.m.
And Rick, what I would like to do is, I know I don't have to republish, but I would like to send a new picture, a new little sheet to all the
Yes.
landowners
Good
before.
idea.
Can we gotta have a second first.
Sorry,
I'll second.
Now we can discuss it.
sorry. So, because I want you guys to know when we're doing it and what it looks like and whatever. Is that okay?
Any further comment on the continuance? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Now I'll get this taken care of way ahead of that, just so
Mm-hmm.
Chris can have it, can get it to you. We can have further discussion if we need to ahead of this. So our official meeting and submittal will be that 103rd at 103 for or March 20th. Sorry.
Okay. Anything else on DD 103?
Just the reclass, I guess.
Okay, so now the reclassification. So the public hearing was for both.
So we'd have to reopen the public hearing.
For the, yeah, I guess because we didn't have any
So a
discussion.
separate public hearing for the
Yeah.
reclass, okay.
All right.
Oh, I had it down as one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
well, it
it's
doesn't
on the
matter, that's
agenda.
fine.
Yeah.
It's got an end, so we're okay. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for the reclassification for DD 103.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
I'll just give a real quick summary on how we looked at this reclassification. This will need to be continued to adjust for the adjustments in annexation, but I will go over this at least now so people have the information. We use soil maps a lot, for this because soil maps show you so much. Thank you. Suitability for crop, whether drainage is needed, slope, just several factors. So we use the soils to come up with points, and the code simply says, and you guys have been through this before, that the land getting the most benefit gets 100 points per acre, and then you graduate it down from that for lesser benefit. Another factor that we use, we call proximity. Basically, it's how far from the county system is the parcel. If it's more than a quarter of a mile away, we give it some reduction. If it's over half a mile away, we give it some more reduction. If it's over a mile away, we give it more reduction. The idea with that is that it costs the people further away more to get their drainage to the county system, so they shouldn't be assessed as much. We have a drawing there that shows areas that were reduced because of that factor, and it's all color-coded. That represents how the people paying in the main were adjusted. Now, the report itself, a lot of columns in there, parcel number, owner, section, description, all that's very familiar to you. Area benefited column is the acres that are in 103 that will be assessed. The average benefit per acre column is the one that's the 0 to 100 scale. And you can see, you can look through those, a lot of them in the 40s, 50s, 60 points, some down in the 20s. What happens is we come up with the points per acre and then we compare everybody's. So the land with the more points are going to pay more. Points or units. What we did, we went through this and then we spread $10,000 just to give people an idea what it would cost them if $10,000 was spent, say, for a repair. That ends up fairly low assessments really for everybody. I see one here that's only $7.19, but they only have 2 acres. There are some well over $200. And like I say, this is mostly to give an idea of how one parcel compares to the next. The code calls for parcels to be not more than 40 acres. The only time we have more than that is like where it's a correction township, where some of the parcels at the north might be 50 or 55 acres. Otherwise, it's 40 acres or less. If you own an acreage, separate ownership, that should be listed in here. It'd show what your levy would be on that type of project. There'll be partnerships that have parcels, but 40 acres is the magic number on how you divide these. And that's why you'll see them listed as quarters. So that's it. Again, this is just an example of what the cost would be. If you wanted to look at a $100,000 project, you take 10 times what the numbers are here to give you an idea. So I would ask that this be continued. We'd be glad to answer any questions we can, but I'd ask that this be continued to the same date so we can adjust the parcels that will need to be adjusted due to the annexation change. So
I'll open it up for questions from the concerned. Everybody understand the process he's used on this? And I guess we can't. Are you guys concerned on it, or?
This is going to be a countywide, statewide process now, the reclassification?
It goes case by case depending on if we're doing a project or not. It's almost mandated if you're doing a certain scope of project.
for improvement projects, it's mandated. For repairs, like a ditch repair or something, wouldn't necessarily be mandated, but if it was still the original classification, very different in how we'd look at it today compared to 1900, for example. So,
just for the record, the people in that DD 103 are going to get stuck with a pretty big bill here, and basically nothing's going to happen at the moment. So it's just kind of unfortunate that that's the case here with this project.
there was a project that you're going to get levied for. Is that the?
Well, we were going to do some improvements on DD 103, but then the reclassification kicked in, and now it was remonstrous and stopped because of the reclassification.
Oh, you wanted the reclassification before it was built.
Well, we didn't know there was going to be a reclassification.
Okay.
Because it's all just one district, and they wanted to improve the main tile. So I
So we're the
wanted,
guinea pigs on this case.
well, I mean, it should have been classified that way in the beginning, and it wasn't. So
This is correcting
if we
it.
wanted it to be billed correctly, we needed to classify it correctly. Well, then you didn't want the project after it was classified correctly, but we still had to go through with the reclass. So that's, it's not a fault of
But-
anyone, it just,
Right.
it's
What
disappointing.
happens is on this parcel that we spoke about, that's 80 acres, where really, we've sort of determined that's really only half of that. My portion on that fixing of that tile that I would be billed for through my taxes was $36,567 to not really drain much of 40 acres. You know, it's,
It basically doubled the numbers for the people on the top end of that watershed. So,
yeah. You know, everybody's okay with spending $10,000 to benefit it. We all are stewards of the land. It's what we try to do every day.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's prohibitive. You know, if you put that over 20 years or 30 years, which you can do, you're gonna pay for it twice. You know?
Yeah, reclassification kicks in a couple places, and we've kind of talked about that. With an improvement, it's nearly always mandated by law. With a repair, it's usually nearly always beneficial to do it so that it's fair, as long as you, otherwise it'd go back to the original reclassification, and that's so not how it would be today. Several years ago, working with commissioners on a reclassification in Humboldt County, we adjusted how we were doing some of this because what they brought up was, look at all the pattern tiling that's being done. That wasn't dreamt of just 20 or 50 years ago, say. Wasn't even dreamt of. So some of that land that was being tiled, the side hills and things, we upped the points a little bit on it because they were tiling, or they had the right to. So those have changed historically. The method of reclassification has changed historically. We have so much better information available for elevations, slopes, soil types. I admire the people that did this originally. You know, they were out there on horseback trying to come up with this boundary. And it's amazing how well they did. I just am amazed. But this is a step that is worthwhile nearly all the time. It's a rather inexpensive process to do the reclassification, and it gets the spread way more fairly than it would have been otherwise.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for reclassification for DD 103.
I'll second it.
And I'll also make it, and then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. I'll make a motion to do a continuance of the public hearing until March 20th at 9:20 p.m.
AM.
a.m.
Yeah, that was right by me.
I'll second it.
All right. A motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold to do a continuance of the public hearing for reclassification reports on DD 103 for 9:20 on March 20th. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay.
Chris has my cell phone if you have any particular questions or anything. And I've got some cards here if you want it directly. That'd be fine.
Copies of that report.
Glad to answer
Do you
anything
have
we can.
any copies of
Yes.
the ones you have?
Yes.
yeah.
There's 6 or 7 there. We can make some more too.
Okay, we're running just a little late. 9:20, public hearing for engineer report on DD 1 Lat 2. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing. for DD1 Plat 2.
I'll second.
Is that the one that,
On a motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Yeah,
Motion
we
carries.
farm in that one too. No, but we farm.
what do you call that one?
Or Jeff, that's paperwork this morning. You here for the Lat 2?
Yep.
Okay.
I got the trouble days when you go.
Yeah.
You know who I am. I gotta do it all?
You guys don't wanna call you.
You already got that.
You guys should probably sit down.
See you soon.
This is another farm that we rent. Thanks for coming.
Take care. This last one I gave you just gets you oriented to where these are. The pink one is Lat 2, the blue one's Lat 4, and the yellow is sub 1, so.
Right around there in the next couple of years.
All right,
Yeah, I gave you a copy of the Lat 2 report. And I gave you the county map that shows where Lat 2 is. Also in the back of what I gave you as far as the report itself, that gives a little bolder, bigger, showing where this is. I'll just cover it quickly. This is a report on a possible repair or reestablishment of the ditch to its original condition. This is a case where a petition was submitted and you hired us to do this report. You can see the route it follows. And what we found in this, that there was a place where there was like 3.3 feet of silt, and most of it has 1.5 to 2 feet of silt in it. So there is a lot of material. We measure that material in cubic yards. There's over 27,000 cubic yards. Page 2 summarizes the cost. You can see the excavation. You can see outlet repairs. When we do our field work, we try and locate any outlets that are damaged, that need a new piece of pipe put on the end of it. The ones we have in here are the ones we found. Looks like about 28 of them. And what I try to emphasize at the hearing is we will find more. They're covered with grass. If it's time when they're not flowing, we can't hear it. So if it's covered and you can't hear it, you haven't got a chance. Now, some of those will be hooked when they do the excavation because the operator can't see them either. So we will be adding to this list when that work goes forward. So we try and include total costs, so it's not only the construction. We allow contingencies, and that's, most engineers use 10%. There's always things come up you don't know about. So we have that contingency factor. We've got engineering, legal, and publication. We've got the reclassification, which I just put a little money in there. This has been reclassified already. So we'll probably just do a quick review of it. So that's why I'm going to put $500 in there. Interest based on paying in warrants, stamped warrants, you'll have some interest. So I came up with a total estimated project cost of $162,459. This ditch drains over 8,000 acres, so the average cost per acre for cleaning this lateral would be just under $20. Now, we're going to have a bid letting here yet this morning. We'll see how those numbers actually come in. I'm hoping for better numbers than this even, but less than $20 an acre would get this cleaned out. Trying to think if this is the one that has to stop because of culvert. I think it is. Is it 150th?
That's flat 4.
Okay, I was thinking that we stopped just short of the upper end though with this one, but I'll check that. It's real close. 150th, I think is.
Oh, there's another one.
Yeah, there's another one. So. We show it stopping at 150th, and actually the district itself goes a little further. So.
Is there a history on when the upper part was cleaned or?
Fairly recently.
Yeah, I thought it was when I first got on the board, it was being finished up.
Okay.
So like back in 2010 or so.
Oh, quite recent. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we only went down to it to about 150th, right? So.
Okay. Oh, that will end up the whole thing then? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. As a repair, board as trustees is required to proceed with the repair, and for that reason, you authorized plans and specifications to be prepared. Those have been distributed. We have plan holders on that and have at least a few bids for later. So you followed procedure spelled out in drainage code. That gets us to this point. Any questions from landowners on lateral 2 cleaning?
Mark, do you know how far down we went exactly? Did we go to the bend that brings it back?
I don't think it went east of 150th at all, as I recall.
Oh, it didn't?
I don't think so.
I was thinking we were near, had some issues on the east side of the blacktop.
Pinning?
Huh?
There was some
Pinning.
issues in Pinnings there.
So,
I think it seems like they did some spot cleaning in there.
oh, maybe that's what it was.
But I could be wrong, I don't.
And we went out and measured everything, so if there was some cleaning done previously, we would have that information. Yeah, right, there should be less silt there, so that should be reflected in the quantities.
Is there any questions from anyone on this one?
On that $20 an acre, is that spread evenly, or is that,
No.
if that's closer to the ditch, you pay more?
Yes, somewhat,
So,
Yeah.
so it'll vary somewhat.
absolutely,
What
that's
do
a
they
very good
usually-
point.
What are they usually, how much, on average, they usually vary? Is there so much factors involved?
It's not uncommon for some parcels to have up to twice as much.
Twice?
Yeah, from half to twice, I guess, if I was
Then
gonna give you.
other behalf of that,
Yeah,
you know, or.
yeah. They're a hill,
So if you get the most benefit, you might be up to $40 an acre.
that's possible, yeah. We could run some numbers, I mean, we didn't do that based on the current reclassification. but-
I do.
You did run it? Okay. I should have known she'd have that.
Yep. About $20 an acre.
Thank you. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
so
you.
you already printed it out.
Oh, yeah.
She's on the ball. That's good.
Any other questions or comments on DD1 Lat 2 cleanup project? Like he emphasized, this is just a repair, Hearing no further comments or questions,
Make a motion to close the public hearing for DD1, Lot 2.
I'll second the motion. A motion from Jeswell and a second from Derby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Should we be accepting the report?
We already did that.
That was before? Okay. All right, I guess it is past 9:30. We'll move on to public hearing for engineering report for DD1 Lot 4. A little farther west.
Yep. And that's the blue line on the overall map there. And again, we put a location drawing in the back of the report to give you a better idea on where this one is. Much shorter, not near as many acres drained. I didn't mention this before, these all drain into drainage district number 1, and this is the earliest original establishment that I've ever worked on. 1899, District 1 was established. So I've worked on several in the early 1900s, but not one this old. So, this, like I say, drains into ditch 1. It's not a very long stretch. It's about a mile long. The upper end of this one, we cross under a paved road that's fairly new and it's a thick paving. There's a culvert there that eventually should be lowered, but that's going to have to be sometime in the future. This cleans out enough of the ditch, it's still worthwhile. Adding everything up, for short as it is, there's quite a bit of dirt. We just had 3 pipes that we found. Adding all the costs together, it came up $72,000 to $73,000 for the project. This has a much smaller drainage area. There's just 1,938 acres that would contribute. So the average cost would be $37 plus. It's a repair. The trustees are required by law to proceed as long as it's just a repair. The goal with any repair is to just reestablish the ditch how it was originally built. And that's what we're doing with this one.
How many acres was on this one?
1,938. To hit quite a bit more.
And that includes the sub 1.
Yes. Yeah, sub 1 drains into this. So yeah, they will be contributing.
Question.
Yeah.
This is not any work on sub 1, it's just on the lateral.
Yes, that is correct. Yes. And we have a report on sub 1 also that we'll be doing next.
How much, maybe you said how much sediment you got to take out of lateral?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
This one has 3.5 feet in a spot or two, and most of it's 3 feet or more, actually. It's surprising.
So it's more feet than in, like, say, lateral 2 that you put.
Right, yeah, more to remove per foot than 2.
When was the last time it was cleaned?
98, 99. Yeah, there's a 99 report accepted Was it a
project.
full clean out or just repair? It says clean out, I guess.
12,500 feet, that'd be about it. Looks like it was all cleaned out in 99, so that's not that long ago.
And
Part of
18
Part
years.
of it too is the main, which is a whole different project.
Yeah.
Right at that mouth of that lateral, the clean out is like 6 feet.
Oh, it's unbelievable, yeah.
So.
Yeah, down in the corner there.
Mhm.
Backed everything up.
so you're saying DD1 caused the problem?
Yeah, that contributed definitely, yes. Because the outlet was pretty much blocked. So it's a good thing that's getting cleaned out. And then cleaning this will be,
Yeah.
help it all.
On the road, you're just gonna come up to the culvert at the current
Yes.
elevation.
Yes, correct. There was a petition for some more work in 2013, but at that time, they recommended no more cleaning.
You said it's 6 feet high where it goes into DD1?
Well, I think it's a
It's,
little
you know,
east, it's towards the.
Yes, just a little bit east of where it goes in.
Well, I farm all that and the water drains through there, so.
I know, it's
unless going
shocking.
uphill.
We've checked it more than once because that flows better than we ever expected it to,
Yeah,
with what we found for elevations.
I can't believe you gotta take that much dirt out of there.
Yeah. If you look at the overall profile, there's areas that are that bad.
Oh, yeah, it's sloughed,
Yeah.
through the low ground, it's all sloughed off.
Yeah,
But it's still the water's heading south.
I know.
It's not going north.
It's moving better than we expected it to with what we found out there.
I just, for 70-some thousand for 3/4 of a mile, I don't know if it's worth it.
Well, it is, just because the board's required to maintain it in original condition. Their hands are kind of tied really with a repair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they address that, I guess. Yeah, it's a lot of money for that length of ditch.
Yeah. At that outlet, how much are you taking out of DD1?
It's probably at least 4 feet, I would say.
It has to
because
be, you'll have to get the same elevation.
Yeah.
You gotta take 4 feet out of DD1 at that junction?
I should look at the profile, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll open this up, is what it would do.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing it will do is it will benefit DD1 because all the silt in that one won't then be running down into DD1 after it's cleaned out.
Cleaned up. And we've had those situations before where they should have gone on with something and didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
But those landowners in that district are looking at a pretty good sized bill now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a big district.
You only said 1,800 acres.
Oh, for
You're talking
this.
lateral 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lateral 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a pretty big bill.
Mhm.
yeah, just for lateral 4.
For a clean out, yeah. We like to get them less than $30 things if we can.
If you clean out DD1 though, the water just take out that silt.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, just clean out DD1.
And we just had that happen in Palo Alto County where landowners immediately saw silt coming in from something that wasn't clean, that wasn't part of the district, so now they've even petitioned for improvements on something that wasn't in part of the district improvements. So this one at least, it should step in line so that one's done and then yet this season, lateral 4 will be done too, so. And we do require them to overdig at least 4 inches when they do one of these for that initial siltation. Because you'll always have some initial siltation following a clean out.
So how high is a box culvert going under the road?
Which one?
By Rembrandt,
Under the black.
on the blacktop.
Is that the one at the upper end of
4.
4?
4.
I think I left those
Not the
plans.
very upper end, but the part way up.
Yeah. Problem is, you got a road right there to the north.
Oh boy, I think if I can come up with that.
Scott, do you remember what the difference was?
I don't know if I
I
ever
was
saw
thinking
that.
it was like
spreadsheet.
2.5 feet.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Sounds
foot and a
right.
half.
I was thinking about that for some reason.
I'm thinking it's almost 2 feet on part of it, as I remember looking at it yesterday. So,
How much, north of the blacktop, how much dirt's gotta come out of there? We're along the road. Well, that's already deep.
north of the road,
Between the two
Yeah.
culverts.
yes. Looks like it approaches 2 feet in places.
Okay.
Now that culvert is almost exactly 2 feet high. Looking at, I found it in the profile. But again, that's one of them that'll be lowered in the future. We called for ending the current clean out just at the south end of that culvert.
So
You're not gonna go north of the culvert?
No. So we're not gonna clean out sub 1. We got numbers on it, but we're not gonna do it.
So this 70,000, this is up to the culvert?
Yes. Yep.
It's not even one.
No, it's short of a mile.
3/4 of a mile.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do sub 1 then?
No, till some culvert work is done. So it'll be, the good part of this is these reports should be, they are accurate as far as depths and everything, and they're good for 10 years. You won't have to spend for another report. Once culverts are lowered, we'll have the information already. So it's there, we know what needs to be done, it'll just be put off for a time.
And on sub 1, I don't think you found anything that was underwater.
Right.
Right.
You know, everything was able to,
Oops, I'm sorry. Correct, that's a good point.
the only one that really complained about that elevation was Rembrandt.
Oh.
Rembrandt, we'll get her to pay for it. Yeah.
They're willing to if it gets done, I mean.
Yeah, because they're talking about these culverts. Getting them deeper.
Yeah, this is, LAD 4 is another one we're gonna let here a bit later this morning. So we'll know more exact numbers at that time. Hopefully it comes in a little cheaper.
How come we couldn't have come up with these when corn was like $7 a bushel?
That'd be nice.
That's
Yeah.
great.
That's just bad timing. Yeah,
Hopefully it gets up to 7 again.
yeah, it's just a matter of when, yeah.
So the placement of the culvert, was it laid wrong in the beginning, or?
Well, apparently, yeah, and some of that, the county now is very good about it. I've seen their process and good. Some of this has been a long time ago, and they maybe didn't do enough research. And sometimes the information isn't necessarily available even from the plans or original plans, so they're doing the best they can to get it low enough. Just so happens there's a couple here that aren't.
Will the county pay for lowering that culvert?
Yes.
Everything within the right of way of the road is
Yes.
paid for by the county. So you'll see on the report for expenses, the county pays part of this too.
Yes.
So that culvert bill doesn't get put back to the property?
No.
It's the road department.
Yep.
That's
So then why don't we lower it now when you do the clean out?
Is this a brand new road over it?
Yeah.
I guess we'll leave that to
Budgets.
the,
But you're asking these guys to spend $80,000 for a clean out and have a culvert above where it should be.
On the north end, yeah, that's a good question. When you lower that culvert in the future, you're gonna have to redo south of it. You have to redo that lateral 4.
Why?
Not necessarily. I mean,
Well, if you lower it, the lateral 4 will be higher than the culvert.
there'll be a drop from the current culvert to the
Now?
now there
When
will
they
be.
get cleaned out.
Oh, okay. You're on a 2-foot drop now.
Yes,
Oh, okay,
Yes.
got it.
so,
But we're looking at cleaning out a 3/4 mile private ditch. And our bids, we got, of course, we don't know how much dirt involved, but it's a lot lower than this.
it could be,
What's that?
You said more.
Less, a lot less than this.
And typically, most of our bidding has been coming in under engineering estimates.
Okay,
So we're hoping that,
hopeful that that's what's gonna happen today.
okay.
we've had a pretty
I
good
didn't
combination
know,
of.
I know, we got, our bids were a
Get
lot
rid of this.
less than what
This was a block.
private.
Right.
Yeah, and that's typical that the private work could be considerably cheaper.
Still gonna be.
Don't have the contingency, you don't have as much engineering, you don't have the interest, you don't have, yeah.
Any other questions or comments on Lat 4?
So when you reinstall these new box culverts, you go under grade then, right?
Yeah, what do you usually,
Like a foot?
engineer, Scott?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess between Mark and I do as much I can do from prior plans and elevations and trying to take into account what we've already put in and try to make sure it works. And then when Mark's crew gets there to put the box culvert in, they're paying attention to clay layer and trying to figure out where the existing bottom was, and then we try to correlate that information. And then whatever we figure the original bottom was, we still try to go an extra foot. So we're doing our due diligence.
Yeah, the
See,
engineering
a lot of-
department's doing a good
A
job.
lot of it is, a lot of those ditches were never dug to plan grade. So that's the case with these. We always bury them a foot below original grade, whatever it was dug to. Well, survey equipment nowadays is so much more sophisticated. You just walk you drive 5 miles downstream and, set a point, and you walk up there and set a point, because of GPS. And that's really the biggest thing on a lot of these is this, they were never dug to plan grade.
Yeah, the engineering department makes a real good effort in this. We've seen it firsthand.
Any other questions or comments?
Gentlemen, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for DD1 Lot 4.
I'll second the motion. Got a motion from Jensvold and a second from Derby. Close the hearing, public hearing for DD1 Lot 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9:40 a.m. or thereafter, public hearing for engineer report on DD1 Lot 4 Sub 1.
This is a continuation of Plat 4, basically, is how I describe it.
Oh, yeah. I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for DD1 Lot 4 Sub 1.
I'll second it.
On a motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Same situation here. We have a map in the back that shows it. And I gave you that one that shows where it is with respect to Lot 2 and Lot 4. This one has a culvert at the lower end that is high. We went through where we think the original grade was, or should have been, and came up with this report. 130th Avenue is where this culvert is. There's a culvert under 130th that Sub-District 1 goes through to get it to Lat 4. We went through quantities to restore it as if that culvert was lowered and came up with 9,800 cubic yards of material. Total cost over $59,000. Now this one's over $40 an acre because there's only 1,360 acres involved. Our recommendation is, however, that you not proceed with this. The outlet basically be blocked if that culvert isn't lowered. That would be something that, just doesn't make sense to lower it, to dig it out unless you get that lowered. So, cost per acre over $43 an acre just because of the smaller acreage and significant dirt. We found as much as 4 feet of silt in this stretch of ditch. But like the point was made, we believe there was actually no blockage. It's just fortunate that the outlet pipes are high enough that there isn't significant blockage of it. Most of this stretch had 2 to 3 feet of silt in it. A lot of material in there. Again, the board's required to maintain these, but they also have to work with the county, of course, and secondary roads to plan culvert replacement. So, and as I mentioned, this report is good for 10 years. The most we'd have to do is just review the cost estimate to be sure it was still accurate. We are recommending that you not let this look at it in the future as a project. Yeah.
Okay, I had just a basic question. If none of the outlets are blocked now, why does it need to be dug down to the original
I
depth?
think it helps drainage up above higher. That's the main thing.
There's a big culvert under that west, or the east road, too, that's the end of the ditch. If water flows through there, okay, it doesn't.
That one's too high. There's actually two different, one through the blacktop and one through the gravel
Oh, that's true.
that have to be lowered.
Yeah, on the west side, yeah.
West side.
But on the east
upper
side-
end, the very upper end on the east side?
East side, that culvert, that county tile, that's quite a bit above the bottom of the ditch right now.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't been out there.
But they're also talking about an improvement on that.
Yes.
You're looking into an improvement on that.
He's doing a study on it.
Yeah,
So how high is that culvert across the gravel road? How much does that have to be lowered?
on the east,
On the west
side.
west side,
That's the top of
lateral four,
The outlet of sub one.
sub one.
top end of the
How
sub.
big a culvert is it?
top end,
Where
where the east end of
where
the
the
ditch.
tile transitions into the ditch.
Okay,
I think they're asking. Oh, they want to know the culvert north of Golden Oval.
Oh, that
goes under the gravel road.
The outlet,
East of Rembrandt.
yeah, it'd be the outlet for sub one.
Okay, the lower end.
It goes underneath the gravel road.
how, you wanna know what on it?
How high is it?
How too much high is it?
Okay, it's, almost 3 feet,
Almost 3 feet.
yeah. Yep,
So what was the reasoning you didn't want to lower that culvert?
Because the one downstream from it.
That got to be lowered first.
yeah, and that's a really, really expensive one to do. So it'd have to be worked into the budget. The road's not that old, but I don't think the pipe is terribly old, but.
And
So,
that dredge ditch is also right on the gravel road too, and had broken out before,
okay.
collapsed into the ditch.
Okay.
Probably have to, I don't know.
Well, as I say, the report's good for 10 years. We're recommending not doing anything with this right now. Secondary Roads is gonna look at these, look at time frame, look at 5-year plan. Yeah. We're glad to work with them on anything we can provide.
Any further comments on the sub one recommendation by the engineer? Go ahead.
Has that been reclassified? Already, okay.
That was
As
part of
lateral
it,
four.
because we did District 1, so the whole
which
District 1
Yeah, so
was
it includes
classified.
that, yeah.
All
Yep,
levels.
Okay, so it's all been
Yeah,
It's already all been
it's
done.
been taken care of,
Yep.
and that's why she had good numbers for you.
So we know this would be a fair amount.
Already been done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
So if you're not going to do anything, why is the $60-some thousand for repairs? What's that going to cover for sub one?
That was just an estimate.
Estimate.
Just to tell
And
landlords
we're not
what
gonna
it
do
could
nothing.
be.
Not-
Right,
not doing it.
right.
Okay.
Not
Yep.
doing
Will not have any expense at this time.
And maybe corn will be higher when we do get it done.
There you go.
Hopefully.
We all hope so.
And you didn't find any blockage out there yet?
No.
Because it's really sloughed off through the low ground.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of dirt in there. Through
Yeah, I
the
believe
peak,
it.
further the peak ground.
Sure. Yeah, we've seen that in the past. And just so people know, and you may have seen it already, Larson Construction has started on DD1 cleanout. You may not have been in that direction to see them, but we were concerned on digging this time of year, but the top soil is so dry, it's coming out fine. Not coming out in chunks. We've had them where we had to stop people because it was coming out in chunks and we couldn't do a good job. It's working fine so far.
Any further comments?
If we do get blockage out there, do we have to clean it out? We do have to petition, until these culverts get done? Because it's really pretty thick down through the middle there,
Well, you can,
It is a concern of ours.
not ponding yet.
We have discussed it with the engineering department, and Scott knows we have concerns for it. And I know he's trying to figure out where he's gonna put it into his schedule and budget.
But part of your reasoning to clean the other side was you didn't want the silt going down into lateral one. Now you got this sub one that's gonna carry silt and do just
Well,
what
it's
you.
being blocked a little bit.
Little
because
By
of
the
that.
pipe.
A little bit.
yeah. You can do spot cleanouts. I mean, and I'm sure the board has done that before. If there's a particular spot that's bad.
I think they've done it before on their own.
Okay.
Clean it.
Sure.
Yeah, the ditches aren't quite as deep up in that area. Well, hearing no more comments?
Make a motion to close the public hearing for engineer report on DD1, lot 4, sub 1.
I'll second the motion. A motion from Jensvold and second from Derby to close the public hearing for DD1, lot 4, sub 1. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
How you doing? Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. There's no action we need to do on it.
Nope, because we're not gonna do anything. Yep, thank you.
Like the same request that I did on the others. Profiles and copy in the reports, yeah, electronically, whether it's email or.
You got it. Not a problem at all. Glad to. Glad to.
All right, number 6, Scott Minders, engineer, will discuss secondary road matters.
Good morning. Where to start? I guess I don't have too much to report today. Unless you guys have anything you're looking for information. Since I do have my month reports here, I'll just give you a quick update financially. Our current auditor's balance is about 1.1 million in the secondary road fund. We are, through the end of December, halfway through the year, with a budget at about 43%. So we're in good shape, especially as every day we don't plow snow, a little bit better.
Have you estimated what the cost of replacing that culvert is?
I have not put an official estimate to it, but I surely can.
That'd be good to know at least, so we know
Sure.
going forward.
What is there a total of 3 that need to be lowered?
2, I don't know. I'm still confused about that.
I know, I get myself confused on it
Because they
also.
were talking about that one too.
There's 2 on gravels, 1 on the pavement.
Yes.
But I think that one
One,
is basically just the transition from the tile to it's not an open ditch on the other side, so.
Right, that one wouldn't have any impact on the ditch.
Right.
Really,
Right.
that's more for surface water, that comes to that,
Yeah, I think
or that's always going.
one's an outlet of the tile, the other one's a culvert.
So it's really just the one on the blacktop by Rembrandt and the one quarter mile.
Just the two of them, 2 of the culverts, or the box culvert, and the steel one.
Yep, I'll put some numbers on file for those.
Okay, thank you. Otherwise, I don't have any questions for you.
And really, maybe back to those 2 culverts, the one on the gravel road, I'm sure has got to be near the end of its life anyway, because it was here before I was, so.
And then, unfortunately, we did go through all this before they put the one into blacktop.
Seems like that east side of the culvert seems to be a fairly steep slope there too. I don't know if we can lengthen the culvert a little bit.
Yeah, that's not a good, it's just a T and there's not.
Yeah, but the road.
We may have to look at some right of way from Rembrandt, for the district or something to make that a little better.
I'm guessing they'd be probably okay with that as long as it benefited them.
Yeah.
Because they have concerns.
Yeah, that pipe on the gravel has been all shored up with timbers and
Yeah,
all kinds of.
I see it's got timbers under there.
Been there for 40 years or
Yeah.
more, I don't know how many, but a long time. It's never really changed. It's not good.
Anything else, I guess?
You didn't have anything else, Scott? Okay. Go on to number 7. Auditor's office will discuss drainage matters.
I don't have anything right now.
We covered most of
I think we have.
it. How are you coming on that other improvement? The farther up on this one, south one.
I've gone through just some basic numbers I had, and I should pull that together for you, show you what I've got. I do have the DD11 improvement project report. I just signed it yesterday. I was going to go over a draft copy of that with Chris here later.
Okay.
Schedule presenting that to you here in the near future. I'll try and have something for the upper end of sub 1 at the same time.
Okay. Hearing no other, we'll move on to consider for approval final pay application for Midwest Construction Consultants for Public Safety Center. As I understand, this was to cover just the materials for the pass-through doors on for food trays.
Yeah, he sent an original one, and then there's an amended. Looks like it'll be about $1,600, and it's for just the food caskets and the hinges and. Here's the actual receipt.
The original bill you sent was 3,600 or something, was it?
Yes, it had some extra postage and some things in it, and Dave and I both called him and said, we had a final pay estimate from you a long time ago, and we thought we were done. So he took off he had some travel charges, some meals, some hotels, postage, different things that he took off, and all we're going to pay is the materials.
Seems fair to me.
Yeah, we would have bought the materials in the first place anyway. And this was also a thing that was supposed to have been in the doors
It
in the
was
first
supposed to have
place,
been
right?
doors in the first place, and it was neglected, and so.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to approve the final pay application for Midwest Construction Consultants for the Public Safety Center.
I'll second the motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Anybody just have those back.
Do you want to stand or
No,
it'll be in
we'll
the?
make it clean, and it'll be with claims.
Okay, number 9, open forum. Anybody have anything they want to address us with, or do you have anything?
Chris, do you want Terry to say?
Either way, that's fine, yeah.
Do you want to redo it, because it has Mike's name on it? Or what?
Unless I initial vice chair.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Also need a signature on this. Thank you.
Chris, can you just
Take it? Yeah.
Yep.
please? Thank you. I'm trying to keep this separate.
Do you have an extra one?
I think so. You're just trying to get me messed up, aren't you?
I'm lucky today, I got land at all.
There's some new receipt ones, and lots more than the old receipt.
Sure is.
You're welcome.
Probably a hectare. Attitude towards us.
It's what we had, so much power.
Well, yeah, well, no, this one's smaller.
It is.
Short stem or syndrome or something.
Anything else for open forum?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move on to number 14, consider for approval auditors transfers.
There.
Yes.
The infrastructure fund is a fund that cities and the county put $5,000 into a year, and it's so that
Just something.
we're saving
Yeah, I
money
guess I
for
just-
in case they need new towers or
All right.
different things like that.
So is that through the commission?
Communication.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the auditor transfer.
I'll second the motion. Motion from Jensvold and a second from Derby to approve the auditor's transfers. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We got auditor's quarterly report, number 15.
The top ones are the quarters and the bottom one's mine.
It's pretty flat all the way through there. It isn't like.
Get you down.
Yeah, I see you.
I had Christie some journal
Yeah,
entries.
that's good.
She had the same amount as fiscal agent stuff going into the same one as the drainage fund money. So we moved the fiscal agent fees into a separate line item as then the drainage money.
Oh, okay, that's where it's, Bill, so.
This is just two.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the auditor's quarterly report.
All second.
A motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold to approve the auditor's quarterly report. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consider for approval recorder's report. Can you stamp it?
I'm just gonna read the totals for now.
Step one.
We'll fill that one out later. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the recorder's quarterly report.
I'll second the motion. Motion from Gensvold, second from Derby to approve the recorder's quarterly report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
If you wanna write it down too. Anybody out here wanna keep track of bids? We'll do a.
Hello. How's Rick doing?
Good, how about you?
Good.
You said you got injury?
I have placed, that's back on DD 61 this spring. Slipped off the excavator bucket.
Oh, that's.
Busted up my back a little bit. And it wasn't until this midsummer I found out that I actually had back issues.
Keep track of bids.
Okay, so it's 10:15. We're gonna do the bid letting for DD1 Flat 2 project.
We gave you 2 sheets for bid tabs. Can I get one? Yeah. The one with all the lines is the ones that'd be probably easiest to use, because today what we'll do is we'll read the name of the bidder and the total bid. And then we'll fill out the other sheet you got. Chris gave you that so that you could see my estimate on the way to the right side of the sheet for each of these two. So. Okay. You say there were 7 for this one? Mm-hmm. We've got 7 bids. Just gonna look quickly. There was, we call for the bid bond to be in a separate envelope. There's one that I don't know if there's separate envelopes in here, so we'll have to open it at least to see if there are. If there's not separate envelopes, that's a technicality for bid, and it should be thrown out. So I'm gonna look if there's separate envelopes in here. There's not. I'll be sure. I don't want to throw somebody out there. No, did not see anything separate, so. This is, Yerke. Or Jerky. They should know better, they bid one of ours recently, but, okay. I will start going through the rest of them here. What I'll do is I'll open the bid bond envelope first and be sure they submitted something for it. The maximum amount is $10,000 on any bid. This is high enough that it should be $10,000. A certified check can be submitted, but most of them do the bid bond. Okay, this one is for Reitzel Excavating. It's R-E-U-T-Z-E-L. Reitzel Excavating out of Burt. Total bid by Reitzel, $107,619.53. 107,619.53. The next one will be from Rognus Brothers out of Lake Mills. Close enough, I'm sure you're familiar with them. Bid bond has been provided. Total bid from Rognes Brothers, $113,966.44. 113,966.44. You put them back. Next one's La Harve Construction. Okay, for city. Feels like they must have done a certified check. Yep, they did a certified check for bid security. I'll leave it in there for now. Total bid is $90,240.99. 90240.99. Get that? The next one will be from Corey Jurgens Construction. CORYJUERGENS. Bid bond has been provided. Total bid from Jurgens, $88,977.15. 88,977.15. Can't keep that down, can I? Next one is from Marlin's Excavating. He's from Dickens, Iowa, over by Spencer.
Oh, no, it's
Oh, it's okay. I didn't do it. Cut his bid bond. Bid bond has been provided. Okay, the total from Marlin's, $90,592.50.
Could you repeat that, please?
90,592.50. Very competitive bids. Several of them down around that 90,000, which I like. I hate to have it one low one and the other's a lot higher, but
I like the point of 7 bids.
yeah, that's right. So who was the parent low? Corey Jurgens?
Parent low, yeah.
Okay.
So is that, I thought we had 6. So it should be
Should be
6
one more
altogether.
Oh, 6, yep,
6 altogether then.
yeah, but we went to 5.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah,
could you read the engineer's estimate?
yes,
101.
okay.
400.25.
$101,400.25 was the engineer's estimate. So,
Okay.
summary.
That must have everything.
Are we gonna get this verified before we award it then?
Probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
She's gonna check the math quick on the low one.
Same guy doing 37, 39, right?
So we're kinda in between now, right?
Yeah, I think, how do we have that timed? Was it?
Well, we have one more thing we can do in the
Oh,
meantime.
oh, sure, yeah, that's great.
We gotta start, we got payroll to look at.
You bet.
Oh, yeah, this is for that. This is for the whole time. That's probably. Yeah, they're just doing construction.
Good, Terry. How about you?
No, they don't pay on the bids. So it's about $10,000.
I think the next one's probably.
Oh,
Yeah, they did when they did DD. Yeah,
So,
yeah, you're only reading, yeah.
my estimate at the time of the report was 119,000 for the construction.
For the construction,
Yeah, so there's,
about 20%.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you said 101.
101 was, okay, I prepared an estimate just before we give it to contractor.
Oh,
And that was a little low.
I see.
Yeah. Low.
Yeah, they did that. Did the grading kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
good.
They were both right.
Both right, okay, as long as his was okay.
No,
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
No, I didn't know.
Have you met Joe?
Yeah.
Who's identified
They're in a partner.
It was all-
Oh, okay,
Yeah, all
Hey, Joe.
the-
Chris says she hasn't met you yet.
Nice to meet
Drainage
you.
clerk?
I went through Corey Jurgens' bid and LaHarve as the two lowest bidders, and both were correct. So it looks like Corey Jurgen has the low bid.
We'd recommend award.
Okay. So that moves us on to number 11, award contract for the DD1 Lot 2 project. I guess I can make the motion to award the contract to Corey Jurgens Construction for $88,977.15 for Lot 1, or no, Lot 2 of DD1.
I'll second it.
A motion from Derby and a second from Jensvold. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Just got to Larson and
Our next bid letting will be at 10:45.
Are you ahead of schedule?
What
Nice.
is,
Okay, I'll go next time.
yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
At least we have things to do.
15 minutes.
You want a separate sheet for this one? Okay, perfect. And we'll have them typed out later. You'll put the bid tab together. Yeah, yeah.
also. They got most of the acres, a lot of the acres.
One was like 7.
7.
One of these things, I don't have to have my pen out.
Yeah, because that's a big drainage.
Last week I had to adjust the date.
Or Terry.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Oh, you're just gonna do that.
I can use this one. Easy on you.
The copies are already here. Did you guys want to take the evidence?
This one, but all the others.
Okay.
Thank you for being so having. You too. Very important. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I guess it's
This new stamp is out of control. Well, we just about did the stamp here. And then I had another hesitation to stamp it.
No, it's gone now.
I can already figure it out. I'm gonna take it home and use it, helping us our dogs.
I didn't say anything, but just went ahead.
How do you shot?
I'm gonna take the following week, I'm like, so I got 2 weeks of vacation.
Spread it out over
Oh,
the years.
no.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
Use the tax rate on it.
good plan.
Rent to cover.
Most of them have clips.
Yeah.
Spider clip.
Training.
Oh, yeah.
What's big one?
The person that invented that retired a long ago, couldn't they? Yeah. Oh, I guess I told you no.
See ya.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'd heard. Well,
I had
Hi.
a question.
Yes.
As long as we're just waiting.
Sure.
What's your interest rate on these projects if we don't pay them all in the FERC, right?
It's 6%.
6%, that's what Cassuth County was.
yeah, and they do that because the contractors get paid in them and then they can sell them. Yeah.
I know Hancock County, I think, is more within that.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's the highest I've
If
heard.
you don't need any extra money, I can win you some for 6%.
Right?
You become the banker.
Right. You can open that up.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I suppose you're thinking the same. This wasn't his head.
I was gonna say, I hope that was the
You know what church you don't want to sit in the back? You don't want to sit in the back row. You don't want to sit in the back row here.
You gotta be careful, you speak up here sometimes, you never know what might happen.
What was since we're waiting, what was the average cost on DD1 for the final?
As far as what part do you mean?
The average cost per acre for the cleanout,
About 20?
I think it was right at 20, maybe 21.
That was
You know, I don't remember.
That's the estimate,
Yeah.
but it was a little bit lower. than
Yes,
that.
yes, correct.
And you
that's
know
a
what, I
huge-
have not redone that, but
Okay.
you may call in a couple weeks and then I can get that.
Yeah, but that's such a huge district, so it
Oh, it's
really
enormous.
spreads
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, the original stuff you gave us last summer was 1929 an
Okay.
acre.
And it came in a little under that.
But you're looking at 20, almost 26,000.
They have us working on one now that's over 40,000 acres. So that's, yeah, that's impressive.
Just too big.
Yeah, that's enormous.
And a lot of times they would do, like the DD1 and the DD3 that we're doing, they said there's an outlet fee for a district that joins into it. But they don't tell you what you should charge out for that, they just say there's an outlet fee. So now what he's doing is he's telling you exactly every parcel that should be in District 1. Whether it's in an entire different district or not, it's part of District 1. And there's no extra figuring out, well, how much do I have to charge District 1 then, or, it'll be nice to have
It's a
that.
lot
So
better.
So on District 1, that bill will be coming due this fall?
I'll do that this fall, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
The assessment, okay.
And what I'll do is only what I have billed out to Larson's at that time as of June 30.
Okay.
So if they're not done with the project by June 30, for some reason, some will go on the next year.
She's good at keeping up with that. That helps the interest.
I don't like to wait.
There's a lot of projects going on right now, and you have these two on top of it, if you're, if you got land in all three of them.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
Now, like with DD1, that's, you can do that over 10 years.
It's between 10 and 20.
Yes.
You can pay it off sooner, but it has to be a minimum of 10 and a maximum of 20.
That's got an
That's
inch,
per code.
But 6%.
that's at 6%.
6%, yep. I always tell people to check with the bank first.
Yeah, depends on, if you gotta,
Yeah.
if you gotta borrow the money to pay it.
And I think that's why Hancock County does 9 is, we're not technically.
You don't wanna be a banker.
Right, so,
Well, right now I have $600,000 in outstanding stamped warrants that our treasurer is holding, so that's a bit. And then you add on $500,000 project.
You've already paid the contractor,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Get this far
These
ahead.
projects we're talking about now, like, they won't come up until a year from this fall. They won't be assessed.
Like the DD lat 2 and lat
Yeah.
4?
Yeah,
Right, right.
It'd be a year.
Because we don't even know when they're gonna start.
yeah, because construction won't be till summer probably.
Exactly, yep.
At least you're
Well,
spreading
we
them
can
out
ask the.
over years.
I
Just
tried.
it'd be in the machine right there,
Yeah.
probably.
Well, lateral 2 would be starting as soon as frost is out.
Oh, okay.
So say he has a bill for us in April or May, I will bill that out.
Oh, you will.
I will assess that. And at least that'll spread your payment over at least 2 years.
So hopefully DD1 is past that point where we're starting.
Yeah.
Make it a lot easier.
Yeah, you really can't start until DD1 is.
Well, we could create a point, but it's gonna be really close time-wise.
But I
Yeah.
think we should put that too, when we get to do the contract, we should make that part of it that you can't start until
Until
they're
they're
past
past.
that.
That's the,
Yeah, sure, man.
Yeah,
water running the other way.
The other guy did that.
right.
Yeah, Larson's in there digging right now, so
Well, I was getting,
we're hoping it's not a problem.
how far along are they right now?
Not very far, they just started a few days ago.
Started at the river and
Yep,
There's a lot of fall right through there too, isn't there, to start with?
yeah, there's better fall where you start.
there was
Yeah.
a lot of silt down that way, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Would you say they had to dig out of the river?
Well, we're just having them dig a pocket to hold it 3 to 4 feet, we're hoping that they got. I wasn't out there, so,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, I'll just fill it.
It will. but,
Rick, have you had any luck working with the Corps of Engineers where the outlets to the rivers?
not very much. They're approachable though, I mean, they'll listen. It's like pulling teeth is if you're actually doing straightening. That's almost impossible anymore. Because, yeah,
Oh, so when you dump into the Winnebago River, is that state or federal?
That's the Corps of Engineers.
Yeah.
Oh, the Corps of Engineers are, okay.
Yeah. Mhm. So, but yeah, if you straighten out a ditch, so you eliminate some footage, now they make you establish a new ditch somewhere with that footage, and it's like, how do you do that? I mean, that's unusual, you'd have to have a new drainage district or something come up, so it's almost impossible. And then they wanted 50 feet on each side, on the entire length of the ditch, set aside.
Maybe some of those things will change soon.
That's, we're kind of
Get away
standing
from that
back.
Clean Water Act thing.
Yes, yes,
You mean like 50 feet for a filter strip?
yeah, on all of it, mandatory, yeah.
It's not Minnesota.
I know, yeah. I can't remember what other stipulations they had.
Yeah, but even Minnesota's only 16 and a half feet on
Yeah.
county ditches.
That's right. So, the list that they wanted was amazing. It was a combination Osceola Dickinson County project, and, yeah, they gave up on it.
How about most of these dredge ditches got CRP in them? So that all's gotta be leveled and reseeded, and that's all in the bid?
No,
No, okay.
here's the deal with the CRP, and I'm not sure how it's worked in Winnebago County before. We've had trouble getting seeders lined up to do it as a project. What we've been doing the last few years is having the landowner arrange for the seeding, and the district would pay for everything but 20 feet on each side that's considered right of way. Because usually the landowners know somebody that seeds, it's somebody they're happy with.
Historically here, though, we've had a local
Yeah, you've got
contractor that does the
See,
seeding.
and that's,
And
yeah,
then he gets with the NRCS.
Yeah, they know.
that
what to
works
seed.
great. We had one in
Okay.
Humboldt County for a while, but he decided it was too much hassle on him.
Yeah.
If you have somebody, that is wonderful.
They're gonna seed everything that needs to be seeded,
Right.
and the landowner doesn't have to pay for that extra.
Well, the district does.
The district does, yeah.
Yeah. So this number you saw today will add that little bit to it.
Yeah, I see there's a seeding cost in there.
For the
I was gonna say, it
reseeding
should
of
be
the.
included.
We have it for the slopes, is what we have it, but not for
Oh,
CRP.
oh,
Yeah, because we're not sure whose it is and how far it goes and how much is gonna be damaged, and, yeah.
What's interesting about Minnesota is that if you've got land in CRP along the ditch, that works for your filter strip, but when that expires, you can't renew it.
Really?
Because it's land no longer able to you're able to farm. It's non-tillable. Or you can't put new, you don't have CRP there now, you can't put CRP there. Because it's considered non-tillable. Which is gonna lead to a lawsuit because they're taking the rights away from the landowners and not recompensating them. Of course, some of the county ditches already there, they've already paid the easement.
Oh,
The
sure.
16 and a half foot was paid already to the owners, and that was billed out to the district.
Do you have somebody lined up for DD1 to start doing the CRPs once they start digging?
Lauren.
Lauren gonna do it?
But you guys, I mean, FSA is okay with that. Landowners don't have to contact them.
No, actually Lakeside goes through the NRC, FSA, and, you know, because there's different mixtures in different places.
Right.
They match.
Because I know 2 years ago, he did lateral 1 off DD1. Really cleaned that one out. He did a really good job getting it seeded back.
It's wonderful to have somebody like that.
Yeah, we had, not too long ago, a contractor just did some, and it wasn't right, so they got with the NRCS and they had to do it again,
Oh,
so.
okay.
Good.
You got,
Good.
you got kids like play with it.
They would, wouldn't they?
You can play government.
Yeah.
I think he's doing chemicals and fertilizer. I think they're trying to weed them out every morning. He's there on something. I guess he's got a bunch of book work.
Check in.
Eric's.
Had you changed the name, haven't you? It's been, it was, yeah.
Now, I said,
Yeah, when did it change? Yeah, it's been a long, it's been a long time.
3, 4 years.
Yeah.
It's officially
It's
time.
time.
Okay, so it's 10:45, about the bid letting for DD1 Lat 4 project.
Have another one I need to check and see if they have separate. No. I'm always dying to know what they would have bid, but can't do it. Okay, this one will start with Marlin's Excavating, Dickens. The bond has been provided. The bid for Marlin's is $40,405.25, 40405.25. The next one will be from, I think this is A1. A1 Excavating and Drainage. Bid bond has been provided. Bid from A1, $36,858.89, 36858.89. Next one will be from Reitzel Excavating out of Burt. It's been provided. Total bid from Reitzel Excavating, $42,645.29, 42645.29. Next one will be from Rognus Brothers Excavating. Bid bond has been provided. Total bid from Rognus, $30,071.42, 30071.42. Next one will be from the Harv Construction of Four Cities. Provided a certified check again.
I was thinking the same thing.
Total from the Harv, $41,089.19, 41089.19. Last one will be from Corey Jurgens Construction. The bond has been provided. Total from Jurgens Construction, $39,979.10, 39979.10. Okay. Chris again will check the maps to be sure.
Okay, so,
Excuse me, your estimate was 51,354, 50?
On the, at
No,
the
this one should be.
No, it's 46.
46, that's,
46.
when I did it just before the bid letting, I came up with the lower number, the 46.
Chris, A1 will be second.
I'm looking at this because that's what we were gonna get.
Oh, sure,
Billed
okay.
on originally.
Yeah,
was the estimate.
you can see, yeah, the
Oh,
first
it
total
is,
number.
yeah,
is
sorry, sorry, yep,
construction.
yep, thanks.
There you go, yes, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And I mean, he was way high on this one.
And this is just a little small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the stranger thing to me is that Larson did a bid on him, he's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was real surprised, they were the first
I
one
think
to,
they're working in other counties too.
Yeah, they probably have to.
Chris is just thinking they were too busy.
Have to do some of the stuff in their backyard.
They were the first ones to download plans from the plan room, so we thought they'd be bidding, yeah.
I'll be darned.
Your schedule has filled out.
Yeah.
Just glad to get this many bids.
Yeah, me too.
How many do you typically see in other counties?
Oh, we typically get about this many. We try and be a little generous with the time allowed, and bidding them in January helps. So those all help the prices a lot.
I think we've been averaging 3 or 4.
Yeah. And we have those too, but
So when there's no, bid bond or whatever, you can't even look at it.
not supposed to look at it.
Is that
No,
right?
yeah. Yep.
Just for entertainment.
I know, I want to so bad, yeah. We have to look, cut the envelope open to see if there's, because I have had them where they've,
Stuck the envelope in the envelope.
yep, where they stuck them both in separate envelopes in another envelope. I have had that happen. So we need to check for that.
Yeah, Could be a case where we would just as soon not know it, because if it was the lowest bid, then we'd have, yeah.
Yeah, there you
This way
go.
we don't know.
There you go. Exactly. Yep. Good point. Oops.
Okay, I checked Rognus Brothers and A1 Excavating, and they were both correct, and Rognus Brothers has the low bid.
Okay, so we'll move on to number 13, award contract for DD1 Lot 4 project. I will make the motion to award the contract for the DD1 Lot 4 project to Rockland Brothers for $30,071.42.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Amazing.
Oh, she goes that early.
Yeah, too late, right?
Yeah.
Had to get outside. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate this work and hopefully we keep getting good bids, so. And we'll be over here enough to keep an eye on things. So. I do have drone footage of E21, which is the one.
You guys.
Yeah, in the Cassuth, yeah.
Those all fine.
When I first looked at it, we drove by it, and I thought, oh no, the worst is in Cassuth County. I was off a mile in where the county line was.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, you have some of it that really needs some help.
Well, that's the trouble, because the water falls into the Cassuth.
Yes,
So
yes.
if it's not cleaned out there, our main out isn't gonna do.
Is that a drainage district up there?
Yes, 2021, I think it is.
Is theirs?
Theirs is the drainage district too, and I don't know what that number is. Yeah.
I'll have to talk to Roger Jarks. It needs to be cleaned out.
There you go. Yeah. But, yeah, we'll have more of that for you too. We
Did you look into Cassuth at all as far as?
haven't yet.
Haven't
Is
We
that
will.
unusual to not be a joint district?
Yes, quite unusual. So,
Is there a process to go through to?
very simple. All you have to do is pass a resolution to make it joint.
With
Yes.
both boards present,
By both.
by both. yeah.
By both,
Or
yes.
Individually by both?
Yes. Yep. So, we just went through one with Palo Alto and Pocahontas County, just to form. Both boards authorize it, have their chairman sign it. Yeah.
I wonder what if there's not a joint, what have they done in the past? It's just, they clean their end
Yep.
up and they're happy with our water flowing through it.
Apparently.
Because
Yours
this way is benefiting us.
Yeah, well, right now it's benefiting them because yours is plugged up.
Yeah,
they're not-
so they're not getting as much.
Yeah.
So theirs is, even in the state of disrepair, it isn't gonna be as bad.
That's right, exactly. But with you having a clean out coming up, maybe more willing to listen to you as far as making a joint,
Yeah,
because now they're gonna get more water.
yeah,
It's what they should be getting, but they're not getting right now.
yeah.
But it would it have to be reclassified at that point?
Be a good idea. It wouldn't be mandatory. With the clean out, yeah,
It'd be more like, would it be considered an outlet fee then for them?
if you made it joint, you could just do it all together. That would be ideal. But, yeah, we'll see how the report comes out. We were not able to do the field work because it was late, but we'll do the field work in the spring and then get a report back to you with some recommendations.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You bet.
Rick, how many papers do you think?
No, not at this point. We'll get a notice of award to you.
Well, she's.
And, yeah.
So we're quick to
Now we can just tell them it's on recording.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the payroll budget.
Yes, sir.
I'll second the motion.
Just, you know.
Motion from Jensvold and second from Derby to approve the payroll claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'm surprised you didn't show up early for drainage this year.
Yeah,
It's one of our favorite days.
I would've,
I
I didn't want to.
Well, you'd have been on the edge of your seat today. I mean, it was just raucous in here.
Well, that 3 days.
Yeah, there's a little. There
were a lot of people.
Oh, yeah, when he walked out.
Oh, that was the day.
You're used to it. I'm not sure if I had issues before.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would get.
Yeah, last time supervisor didn't show up for a meeting and nobody knew where he was headed.
He was dead. Oops.
Hopefully that goes well.
No, he sure looked good yesterday. I mean, he was jovial.
Talkative.
So I would assume some practice.
Did you make a motion for payroll?
Yes, we did.
I
I made the motion and Terry seconded
No,
it.
second.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed it.
That's okay, we'll catch you up.
No, we'd give you a break.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see. What number are we looking at here?
He's a upper or somewhere.
He is 51.
51.
So should we start with your revenues, Kevin?
Be real quick.
All your fees are covering expenses.
It'll be relatively rapidly doing that. Yeah, nothing. So, yeah,
Okay, so
that's
that's
taken care of.
On page 67, under elevator contract, about a third of the way down,
Yeah.
I made a typo, and I put in 500 instead of 3,000.
Okay,
So I need to fix that.
so now, are we, yeah, we never had elevator contract on the other ones, we're not lessening anything there.
All across the street, no. No, this is just the normal service agreement we've got on the elevator for here. Encompasses annual and quarterly inspections that are required by the state, as well as routine maintenance. Parts are not included in that, but it's a good deal, I think. If you have someone stranded in there, then you can have a mechanic coming at odd hours, and it doesn't cost you quite as much.
Well, you want to explain everything here then?
Okay, you wanna go line by line, or?
Well, you can kind of go down, I mean, looks like you did a minimal salary.
Well, let's hit the highlights. The building repairs, I didn't put anything in there. Checkbook says no, it says no. Well, I would say I wouldn't dawdle too many years without continuing
Right.
to repair.
Part of this is you can't do it this year either, can you?
Right.
Yeah, he kinda needed an answer on, how to plan his year, and what I told him back a few weeks was, at that point, I felt we weren't gonna do anything, so he could get his other stuff locked in. So at this point, it would be too late if somebody came in and, well, it probably wouldn't be too late if somebody offered to pay for it, but
Yeah.
he's got his bookings pretty well set, my understanding.
But he's planning on maybe, we're just gonna keep an eye on this porch and.
What's gonna happen here in another month, or when the snow melts off it, I'll probably climb through a window out onto that balcony and check that, caulk lines and see if that is separated anymore. And, just try to keep that monitored as close as we can, you know.
And only do anchoring if we have to.
Yeah, that would be a last resort. We're not to that point yet, but every couple of months, I will be up there just trying to keep a finger on it and see, be aware of what's going on.
Okay, going down to salaries, actually, I didn't put in a pay increase for myself, that was just something that was had across the hall. I did put a little pay increase in there for Kevin Peterson, my number two. The reason he started at part-time pay and he hasn't had a raise in some time, and when his 6 months is up or the first of the year, I would like to give him something either in the form of a small raise or work out another week's vacation or something. So that's why that one got bumped.
And that's salary number one?
Be salary number one, correct. If you look at salary extra help, the line 10004, that's a part-time position, which I'm not intending on filling at this point. It's just there. We're keeping up okay. We'll see how that progresses. And then I did drop out salary, the 10006, part-timer. The second one, that's just gone. That's not going to be anything there. Going down, pretty standard, same amounts for the most part. The safety one, that has gone up from 2018, if you're wondering what that is. There are quarterly fire inspections that are required for the sprinkler system for the new jail, as well as an annual inspection. So signed a contract to get that done to keep the jail inspector happy with that. That way we've got a report and a company that knows what they're doing and coming in and making sure that system is going to function if need be. Natural gas, we should be pretty close on all the buildings. 43075 is going to become the public safety center. And that's with what the gas we used in December, I think it was 750, something like that. So I think we're going to get through on that amount okay. That we guess pretty close on, and then the natural gas for the other buildings, pretty close.
43075 is which one?
43075,
Public safety center.
Public Safety Center.
The new one.
The new one. That number was the annex, the old one.
Okay, so this one down below, well, that's just electricity.
If you're looking at 430, I don't even know if you have it. Okay, you don't even have that.
I was confusing electricity.
Oh, okay. Electricity is electricity and water sewer as well. So something to keep in mind there. That we took a blind guess on that one for this last year, and we're going to be way off on that.
I guess I'm a little confused on the actuals for the PSC electric is 4237. The year before we paid almost 15,000.
Imagine with all the construction going on there, they were using a lot of juice.
Okay, which one are you looking at,
it's
Terry?
low. Actuals are actually low. Under 43175, electricity for public safety center. That number seems unusually low.
Okay, what line are you on?
The third column over on 43175.
For the electricity.
4237.
I'm not sure when that got broken apart from.
It might have, the
old
2017 actuals and 2016 actuals might be from the LEC.
Okay.
So
where are the actuals for the new one?
Or would they be both?
we only have.
Or would that be both of them in
Because
the
it's been
first 2
open.
years?
It's been open this summer.
In 16 and 17, it would be both electric bills for both places because they were both in operation, or one was being built.
We're using the other one very much.
If you look at, and you don't have this line, my monthly report, expenditures for the new building are at 9,381. I can show you that.
On electricity?
Yeah. It's, I'm not ecstatic with how stuff got switched over, but it is what it is. There's the electric for the new building, okay?
She should have left it a new line item and
I would have preferred that, but that isn't,
what she.
43175 is the annex, and that's where we're at.
Is it
For
possible
that,
to-
okay.
To fix this so we can identify in the budget how it's changed from one building to the
I
other?
don't know, since she's already
But
done
that's,
it, I don't know if there's a way to go back.
that's where that 42 whatever, because we budgeted 2,000, because I assumed we would be out of there, August 1st at the latest. Well,
So what line item number was that you were showing us first?
which one are you asking for?
That first number you showed me. Electricity,
Electricity for the annex.
the 9,000 number. The
Okay,
93.
that will be electrical for 43, this one.
43178.
Oops, yeah, I gotta go down one more
Oh,
line.
that's down here.
Here we
Now
go.
you show
938. The information from this line
17.
is on here.
Okay, so
This kinda got, didn't get anything, I'm not quite sure.
43179.
43179 is the new, well, that was the old number for the new building.
Okay. And that was where the 9380 was.
Correct.
Okay.
Makes sense?
I'm gonna write that in here. Under actuals. And that's for this fiscal year.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Like I say, what kinda got crossed up was
I
put
can
two,
see if she can fix it, but I don't, like I said, I don't know once it's already,
But if that's under that number, why can't it stay under that number?
well, that's what I wish she would have done, but she didn't consult me before she moved it back.
Okay. As you can see, the benefit in us looking at the new building versus the old building.
Oh, yeah,
See if it did any
absolutely.
good or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, because that 4,200, that is for over here.
Just curious.
The 9,000 and whatever is for out there.
Trying to think, when did we actually move? What day was that?
August, or later than that.
No, it was, the sheriff and Sandy were out there in May.
But the jail
The
itself.
jail was after July 1st. I'm gonna say August, give or take a little bit, yeah.
August.
Yeah.
So we had a full month of full operation still basically over there.
Oh, yeah, at least. And then we had people moving in and out and radio equipment was still on.
Yeah, that.
And I'd turn air conditioners off and air conditioners went back on and I'd turn off breakers and breakers went back on. So it was a
So now
process.
with the changeover with the radio equipment,
Mhm.
that'll be a different line item here.
Actually, that's something I wanted to bring up. I allowed no utilities for, well, two things, I'll bring them both up. One is the Radio Shack over there, because I don't honestly know, is that wired, is that up and operating as it should be? Is everything done in the old building that I can just turn off the main and forget about it? So to answer your question, I didn't allow any for it. That's gonna be under EMS, in my world at least, because it's all radio equipment.
But it wasn't before, right?
It was not before, it was just part of the building, correct.
They have that meeting coming up the end of the month, so it should be identified in their budget for that.
For the radio, yeah.
There's a public hearing for it's the end of the month.
Yeah, so that is what I would say for that, and then as well as building on North Clark for the nurses, obviously didn't budget for that on last year's, and I didn't on this year's because that's a rental, so my understanding is being handled a little differently. They're covering that themselves as far as electrical, sewer, water.
So would that be communications or E911? Communications, wouldn't it?
I think it's under communications. Because they actually talked about taking some of that out of that fund that we transferred money into today. That, I think it's Fund 60.
Oh, the infrastructure.
Yeah.
Because there will be a little bit of natural gas along with that for their smaller generator over there. I mean, that'll be a very small amount, hopefully.
For testing it.
Yep.
For actual use if they.
Yeah, and then if there's a power failure, obviously.
I don't know, I suppose there's minimal bill for natural gas, isn't there?
It's not very much. And for that, it wouldn't be very much. I mean, the nurses' building is, around 600 a year. And they have a light generator as well as a small boiler. So it's gonna be less than that. So. So is that about as clear as mud then with the switch over?
Yeah.
But that's what the difference is. That's why that number's low. It shouldn't be. It should be up to that 9.
So on page 66, I don't know if your pages are the same, at the bottom of the page, you have line 44176, building repairs courthouse. You went from 72.5 to 12.5.
Yep.
What was that covering?
We're replacing the number 2 chiller out here on the ground. That's already actually.
That's the high cost this year.
That's the high cost this year. It's about, without having the numbers right in front of me, the cost of the chiller is about 42 or 3,000, and then HVAC hookup and electrical wiring. It's gonna be around 52,000, give or take. But that is the difference. I'm going back to just what I would consider to be kind of a routine amount.
Okay.
And that was, we lived through on fumes on that one, just so you're aware. By the end of last cooling season, we're operating on 1 compressor instead of 2, and we had a lot of leaks in the evaporator coils. We made it through, but it was, it was close.
Where is that? Where did you say that was?
Right there at the bottom.
44176.
But that will be taken out of 18th budget.
Right, I was just asking why it was so high this year versus next year.
Correct, yeah, that was.
Because of the $52,000 for children.
Correct, yeah, give or take. I mean, we've set it, but it's not hooked up because once we commission it, your warranty starts and so on.
Otherwise, everything, you had a little increase in the grounds and yard upkeep.
Yep, that is with snow removal, not having public safety centers included, as well as snow removal at the nurses, as well as more fertilizer and that. This next season here at the courthouse, I'm not gonna do any fertilizer or anything like that. I will just have it sprayed for dandelions to make the neighbors happy. Try to get some grass going and see what happens out there. We'll put down some pre-emergent fertilizer for crabgrass and then see what happens with that. So we'll try and hold that cost down there as best we can.
Yeah, man, it's just our FICA, Piper's health insurance, so forth.
Yeah.
So your overall budget went from $607,399 down to $276,981.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Well.
Yeah, but it'll go up again.
Yeah.
It'll go up again.
It's a start.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not done yet.
We had originally intended doing one more year of $300,000 worth of repairs. And
correct.
We're just gonna hold off.
We're gonna hold off the amount that, that was something else I wanted to bring up. was that, and this is above my pay grade, but I'm bringing it to your attention, is the contract was supposed to be wrapped up, the date was 2018.
Right.
Material-wise, the contract's wrapped up, and the amount of work-wise
Satisfied the contract.
was satisfied the contract. Now, talking to Dave, his concern is kind of twofold, how if we decide we want to take that contract forward, how to do that, realizing labor costs are going to be going up, material costs are probably going to be, well, there's no probably, they're going to be going up. How do you want to do that going forward? Because if we terminate the contract, I would guess, and I'm not the one to ask.
I don't know if the term would be terminate. I
Well,
think it'd be more completion.
Yeah, it'd be satisfied. It would be,
Acceptance of completion.
yeah.
Without completing.
Then do you get into having to rebid and all that? And like I say, that's all above my
I
pay
think we can
grade.
talk to Rick on that, because I've seen it done in other contracts where
Just
you just,
extend it with
you allow for a certain percentage increase of labor, and allow for a certain percentage increase of materials.
Sure.
So I think if we just work with Rick on that, he could probably,
Well, that's something I wanted to put in the back.
but it's gonna be
That's
a
something.
board decision whether that's what we wanna do.
Correct. It's just like continuing with the repairs. They, in my mind, they need to be completed, but again, that's a board decision.
But I think if you want me to talk to Rick, you wanna talk to Rick about that, how that would work.
After this is kind of wrapped up, I'll have Carly email him, because to be honest, she gets the best response from Rick.
Okay.
For whatever reason. And I'm not exaggerating, am I?
No, you're not.
I think it'd be best to come from one of you two.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kevin and I will work together to come up with something.
I will put a note on my whiteboard so I don't promptly forget it.
I don't wanna overstep my bounds,
And
there's just one supervisor, so.
we will start looking into that, how to do that, and then present you with options. If that's what you're asking for, that's what
Yeah,
we'll do.
I think so.
We can do
What
that.
do you think?
We can do that. Yeah, that's all I got, unless you've got more.
So some of our public safety center, you got a contract for somebody to do the snow removal now, and
Correct. Yep, that's Rayhan's snow removal. Thus far, they've been doing a nice job.
who's that?
Dale Rayhan's.
Okay.
They've been doing a nice job, and he's got multiple units. He's got a truck, he's got a skid steer, he's got a sander. It's a one-stop shop.
He's one of the EMTs, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's going well. We did not do a service agreement on the furnaces out there with multiple furnaces. If one goes down, we can kind of afford to have it down till.
I like that
It's
system of.
Until it's fixed, yeah.
Standard furnaces that are high efficiency that
Yeah.
about anybody can work on.
Yeah, they're commercial, but it's not like my boilers when you
Yeah, I
call.
should say you don't need a boiler's license for it.
Yeah, you call a local guy for a boiler and you get, nope, not touching it. Which you can't blame them, it's not their
Our
time.
original plan was to have big commercial ones on the roof, and
Yeah, we ended up with
it wasn't
just,
cost effective.
yeah, we ended up with just the one on the roof, and even that's just a regular rooftop unit.
Right.
It's nothing exotic, my understanding, not from what the mechanical air guys told me.
All right. Well, I appreciate what you've done on your budget.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Was Teresa coming in, do you think?
Yeah, she's supposed to be here. If you want, we can talk about my budget while we wait for her.
Sure.
If you want to
Pretty
skip,
flexible.
if you want to skip ahead.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Number two. Okay, so let's go back to Kevin's budget quick. I gotta find my sheet from yesterday. I guess everything you gave us was requests out of general basic, right?
Yes,
He was 50, you said, or 51?
51.
Yeah, so he had no requests. Right?
No, well, let me see. Yeah, his is 231,
Oh,
170.
that's the right column. So what's the left column? Oh, that's the revenue.
This is revenue, this is
Yeah.
expenditures.
Okay, so he just didn't generate any revenue.
Right.
His revenue was quick.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the maintenance guy doesn't have any revenue. Unless, I don't know, I can't even think of anything.
Starts hiring himself out on the side.
Yeah, I guess.
Or if we charge for the use of the courthouse ground.
Yeah, there you go, you can start charging for that.
Uh-huh. That'd go
I think
over.
that'll go over like a lead balloon.
Yep.
So what do you got to show us?
I don't have much. My budget's pretty bare bones. I cut, basically, there's no fluff there. It's kinda, it is what it is. I put in 2% for salaries, although, you know, we're not really expecting anything for an increase. But I'd rather take it out than try to put it back in later.
What about your possibility of the early
Early
retirement?
retirement, if you guys wanna go ahead with that, that would take my, salaries down to 106,000. It would save about $48,876.
48,000 and what?
48,876. The more I think about it, the more scared I am, but the other thing is that, you know, I'm willing to cut a person out of my office and have the girls in my office work their butts off and work harder. But if none of the other department heads are willing to do the same thing, I feel like I'm getting a pretty raw deal. I mean,
Can they handle it by cutting out someone and pick up the pace?
well, Chris said she could give up passports, which I don't know if we want to do that, but
It's generating some revenue.
it's generating $15,000, which would pay for a part-time person.
Yeah. So it pays a fair share of the full-time person. I assume she does other things besides passports.
I don't know.
And right now, the treasurer considers herself one short. She's got it in her budget to hire one, but she's probably not gonna do that.
Well, she hasn't for 2 years.
Yeah.
And I worked in that office. The difference in the treasurer's office and the recorder's office is when there's people in there, you're busy. When there's not people there, you don't have mail, you sit there. You know, that's the difference in the offices. I don't have people that come to my office per se, but we're a back office and we're busy.
What would happen there is that they would irritate the public more by having to wait longer when the rushes came.
I don't see cutting anything from that office other than if we were to cut her extra money she's got in there.
Well, I think if she hasn't hired a person in 2 years,
Something to look at. But that's that other budget. We're
That-
talking about yours.
we're out. I don't know that, like I said, I know for sure during election time we'll have to hire a part-time person.
But that's in your budget, right?
I don't have it in my budget
Okay,
because,
so the subtraction of 48,876, you have to add a little bit.
I would actually add something to the election budget.
And that is what number?
It would be Department 12.
Yeah.
And I would add a line item for part-time in there.
Which you used to have, right?
You know what, I don't think so. I've never had a part-time,
Thought you had extra help anyway.
maybe,
that just,
One of your former employees used to come back and help you.
yeah, but I would take that out of, just election workers, I think.
Okay, all right.
And then,
So the 48,000 you had talked about was just in the auditor's budget?
mhm,
Okay.
I said I might have to add something for a part-time person,
48,000 off there, and then
probably,
15,000 for,
yeah, it probably wouldn't even be that much, but I would put 15 in just to make sure I'm covered.
So then we're back to the only saving 33,000. Our revenues for elections and auditor come from two different areas.
Elections have their own revenue, the auditor's office has their own revenue. The only time I get a revenue for elections is when we do city and school elections.
Right.
And so this next coming year, I will not have any revenue in my election
if you
side.
move it to election, at least it's coming out of general supplemental instead of general basic.
Right. My general basic for my office,
You generate 34,350 and you were requesting 168,896. Right?
I am, for my revenue,
Are you number two?
mhm,
It says you generate 34,350.
yes. I may have estimated a little low on my fiscal agent fees, but that also depends on if the CSS region is gonna allow me to continue to charge for my services. You know anything about that, Bill?
Well, until they become either their own entity or hire an employer of record, which they have not done yet, they've talked about it. They were gonna do the employer of record, and then we had that meeting, and then,
They didn't do it,
well, the guy from,
Tony.
Eldora showed up, Tony showed up, and I think that scared Bob. He wasn't no way he was gonna let Tony be in control of anything there, so then all of a sudden it started talking about becoming their own entity again, as far as going through all the, hoops to become a nonprofit, or, was it 401c3 or whatever?
501c3.
501c3.
So if nothing happens with that, I've probably underestimated my revenue, but if everything stays the same,
It has not happened yet.
So no action would create revenue.
it would bring us revenue.
Yeah.
So, that's, you tell me what you guys want, if you want me to leave it at the 10,000, or if you want me to put it back up to the 24,000.
You dropped it down in anticipation of there being a change made?
But I don't know.
I don't either. Well, there's a lot of negative talk about changing, including some of the Kool-Aid drinkers. So I don't think it's,
Gonna change anything.
Will you know more on Friday?
we
Maybe.
can ask the question when we're there. Or no, you gotta meet with them.
I've got a meeting
Yeah,
Friday.
there's one.
We can just-
Thursday we got
I
our,
might come to the one on Thursday too, just to listen.
yeah, and Bob will be here then too, so.
I guess we can leave it, and then if we
Leave
decide,
it for now, and then that'll be one of our final adjustments.
we can see what happens.
We'll circle it.
And then the other one, the drainage one, is just estimate on maybe I should bring that one up a little higher too, just because it doesn't look like it's going down too terribly much.
Where's that at?
ADM feed drainage, is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
It's not on the
Zeros
right
all the
line.
way across?
It's zeros.
What?
Zeros all the way across.
I don't think it's right.
The 809200
Oh, you're,
in revenue. The second to bottom line,
Oh, so the administrative cost reimbursements?
yep.
Okay,
oh, all right.
so that's drainage. What's the other admin fee drainage?
That's an old number that we don't use anymore.
Okay. I saw drainage on that one, so that,
Sorry.
ADM.
We got a lot of drainage going on. I would say 20 is probably safe. Because every time they get billed, there's a fee for that, right?
Mhm.
And then, so like DD1 is being built this year and next year maybe.
Mhm.
And that's a large one.
I could maybe take it up to 25. I don't,
I'd hate to.
it doesn't look like
I
it's
mean, you
been.
look at, historically, it's been 35, 25. So far, it's 27 this year, so
Mhm.
we're not done. I don't know, what do you think?
Nice to be surprised rather than you plan on too much and you don't get what you wanted. It's,
Sure. Maybe I'll just talk to Chris quick and find out what her estimate is, because she should have something together.
What her crystal ball is showing.
Yep.
pun intended.
So do you want me to put that early retirement thing on the agenda?
Yeah, it's up to you in a sense. If you think you can,
Mhm.
And what,
I think she's ready to retire.
I think it'd be worth the discussion.
yeah, I mean,
It's a
if she
private
doesn't
one that
want to,
saves us
that's
money.
different. But if she's okay with it, then
I think she's,
you have not mentioned it yet.
I have talked to her,
Oh,
and
yeah.
she is not committed either way, but I think she's ready to be done,
And yet,
So she's
sometimes
covered.
as long as she has insurance.
Yeah.
That's what she's waiting for, so.
Don't you think it'd be worth putting on the agenda to discuss? When we discuss that, do we have her here, or is it just, it's up to her?
Well, it would be a blanket policy that anybody in the county can take advantage of as long as they meet the requirements.
Yeah,
So
I'm not sure how many more are.
I don't think there's a whole lot of people at this time that qualify, but I asked Mark today and he said he doesn't have anybody in his office. There might be one in the treasurer's office. I don't know that she,
And it doesn't count for conservation, does it?
conservation would be,
I mean, Judy's gotta be in close to 65.
I think she's younger than Jane, but I think she's 63.
She used to be my babysitter. Or one of them. I think we went through a lot of.
I'm sure you did.
I think it's worth the discussion.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
My document keeps coming up on the screen instead of my, so good.
So do we, okay, so we got
Do you have any other questions for me?
You didn't have any big equipment in elections or anything?
No.
Is there anything you can cut in there?
There's, before the general election, there is a piece of equipment that would make it a lot easier for the absentee, the presidential general election, let me rephrase. It would make it easier for the absentee board to do their job. It's a smaller scanner that goes faster. So I've been thinking about that. It's kind of expensive, so we could deal with what we have. So just depends on, it wouldn't be for a couple of years anyway that I would purchase if we decide to go that way.
The elections in 2020, I guess you could purchase it in fiscal year 20 if you had to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think this year's the year.
No. I just want to say too, that if it becomes too difficult in my office for, I mean, because we've traditionally had 3, or actually 4 people. So if it gets to be too much, next year budget time, I might come back and say, because initially I intended to hire another full-time back at a
lesser rate.
At a way lesser rate. So,
Years and years.
so just know that if it's too much for us, I'll be back next year with wanting to hire back.
So in here, you've got voting machines and equipment, 15,000, which hasn't been on there before. Is that equipment you were talking about? It's on page 27.
Yeah, I might have put it in there, but we can take it out.
Okay,
I'm not gonna buy it this year anyway.
that would be appreciated. Fourth of the way down, or third of the way down. So we'll leave everything else as is until we figure out if we're gonna offer early retirement and have somebody for early retirement.
Okay.
Because even if we offer it, we can't force her to take it.
No. It's only if she wants to.
So if the early retirement, your total budget would go down 42,000 then?
It would
48, you said.
Well, it was 48,876 is what she figured.
Go down 48 in the general, and it would go up 15 in the election budget.
In the election budget.
General supplemental.
But you're also taking 15 out of the election budget as presented
Mm-hmm.
because of the equipment.
So there'll be no change to that one.
So
There'd be some FICA and IFRS
Yeah,
probably,
yeah, that's true.
depending on how many hours a person would work, but at least with the
we
IFRS.
still have the benefits involved. It's insurance.
Say that again?
If she takes early retirement, we have insurance costs, but we don't have, is there other benefits we pay for?
Yes.
All right. That's a good start. Thank you for your willing to flex with us. Do we want to look at any others while we're waiting for Teresa?
Do you want to look at 54? That's a miscellaneous budget.
And of course, my favorite line item for this one is miscellaneous,
Yeah.
and general miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous is.
Very small number, but you'd never know.
I took the 5,000 out of home base Iowa. I
Okay.
don't know if you want that back in there or not.
I was assuming we were taking it out because we have no program, so.
Okay. We moved the care of graves into rural basic.
That makes sense.
Yep. RSVP, Elderbridge, Homeward, Inc. What do you guys want to do with, we talked about Heritage Park and Healthy Harvest. Do you want to leave that or take that out?
What's your thoughts, Bill?
What was that now?
The Heritage Park and Healthy Harvest allocations. Those two. Mike and I were kind of split on those.
Yeah, it's, you know, the Heritage Park generates a lot of revenue for the county, even though it's in Hancock. The Healthy Harvest, and Mike's argument was is that it's a private business or whatever,
It benefits private business.
it benefits private business, I guess, and it's probably a relatively small number of people that actually take advantage of the, what do you call them? They got food out there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Farmers market?
Farmers market, there you go.
Well, like I reiterated it before with Mike, if he was gonna drop the Healthy Harvest, then I feel like we need to drop the Historical Society one because they should be up on their feet now, but they've been running as a park for how many years? They get revenues from the Tree Town. Why are we still giving $3,000 to?
Yeah, the revenue from the Tree Town should more than eclipse a little bit we get.
And I had that discussion with them, with Ron and
What do they say?
and they said, well, you know, we're in a contract with them, and we just don't get that much, well.
Well, you should then.
I
Well, if they're afraid they'll move it.
I should, since they're a 501c3, I should just look it up online, what their revenues are. I can go to GuideStar, just look up everything they have reported for their revenues. But I'm just assuming they can cover themselves. They have a lot of events out there that create fees.
Operation LZ, and of course, that is all marked off to do
Right,
right.
that, unless they're selling some stuff,
Yeah,
they sell their product there. So I'm okay with dropping both, but not just one.
well, it's, I mean, I can see the point of doing both, but it also, now money is tight, maybe this is the year to
Cut the string.
cut the string. I'm not giving away money, I just don't have a problem with it, but,
We've always looked at these monies were coming out of the fees for the landfill.
And that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. None or less.
We don't get any more. That contract expired and they won't resign. That's what that guy was here about the other day.
That contract,
Yes.
so,
And I've been looking up and finding other counties that
had that agreement.
have agreements with landfills, and some of them pay like we were getting.
Wow.
So I
the
hate
county is paying to the landfill.
in other counties. But like Mitchell County has an agreement with the landfill, and they get money. So it just depends on which, I mean, it's on seriously both sides of the spectrum.
Historically, how did this start?
It started when Waste Management came into Winnebago County and asked to use the land, I guess,
Because
here.
the original land was used by Holland County, Hollands.
Okay.
Didn't they own the original land?
And I think probably what was the contract was put in place for roads, so that, from all the truck traffic, it would be there. to
And they paid for their road.
Yeah. well,
Yeah.
it's their
But they don't pay
there.
for, they don't pay for all of the upkeep of the other road. I
Mhm.
think they paid for one lane the last time, didn't
I don't know.
they? Or we used.
Paid for the loaded side, not the unloaded side.
I don't know. All I know is that the contract is expired and they have not been very willing. Adam and I have been talking to them a lot, and they have not been
I
very
know
willing.
they're a big company with very big lawyers.
Yes, and they're not willing to really talk to us much about it. And like I said, they wanted,
It's just a contract, it's not a resolution that we've created to.
it was a contract,
fee and-
and it was good for 3 years, and then they renewed it for another 3 years, and now it's expired, and they don't want to
That's
renew.
another good reason to drop some of these extras then, because we don't
Well,
have.
and the other thing is we're gonna be negotiating on that, the rural recycling.
Yeah.
So I think when we negotiate with the rural recycling, we can bring that into it and
Yeah.
say, your fees are getting lowered because we're doing all this rural recycling, and then you're dropping payments over here too. So I think
Might have
that
some leverage.
we might have some leverage to negotiate that contract. And maybe,
And we're over 40,000 a year for recycling.
it's like 43.
It's gone up every year.
And it was supposed to be that the rural recycling was, the first 3 years of those carts was paying for those carts.
Right.
Now that should drop drastically too. Nobody ever wants to drop it.
Oh, yeah, no,
But-
they're hoping you don't pay attention.
But it should drop drastically because we're not paying for those carts anymore.
What's your opinion, Vern, on rural recycling?
I use it.
Yeah, so do I.
I use it.
Is it worth the taxpayer dollars paying for it?
I just learned that they were. I didn't realize it.
The other thing we've looked at is Hancock County just has drop sites,
Yes,
a drop bin.
I think that would work too.
I didn't even realize that was costing us that kind of money for that.
It started at like 35, 36, and now they're up to 43.
Yeah, I just heard that. I
But
didn't even.
before, we were getting like $65,000 from them in tipping fees.
Right.
But it kept dropping every year because less was coming from the cities, or so they said. And now they dropped it all together because our contract ended, so. I looked at it a couple of years ago, should we start our own? Winnebago County has won awards for having a profitable,
Landfill?
recycling program. They actually market their product and it pays for itself.
Is that anything that can be added to a person's house taxes to cover it partly?
Well, it already is, not 100%, everybody's paying for it.
I know that, but I'm talking about,
Like a special levy just for that?
Right.
I don't think that's legal.
okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
There's only certain things that you can,
What would a separate site cost to set up locations?
what would be nice is if we could do a site with Worth County or something. They have a drop site out there, by Kansas, I think, where people bring their stuff to one spot. And Hancock has drop sites that Waste Management goes down and picks up in several areas. We were thinking about putting dumpsters at the county shops, which would be Buffalo Center, Thompson, Lake Mills, Forest City. And I think our costs would be a lot lower.
Pocahontas County has a drop site, and they have some of the highest recycling numbers per capita in the state of Iowa. And they
For
just
drop sites.
They just have drop sites.
It'd be nice
I
to
know
have that
Waste
information.
Management had some information that showed the other though, did they once when they were here? Showed that it, if you come to them and if you allowed them to mix it, the rural people, you can throw glass and plastic and paper all in the same one, right?
Yeah,
That increased their numbers.
yeah. And I think if we do a drop site, if we're doing Waste Management, you're probably better off just having it dumped in there and let them sort it. They take it up to the cities to sort it. They have a big machine.
Yeah.
With Greg Graham. It's just been noisy out in the hallway.
I wasn't sure if you guys were still talking about stuff or what, so I was like,
We're
oh.
just doing general miscellaneous stuff.
It's just been loud out there, and when somebody has a soft voice, I can't hear, and then
Yeah.
I shut the door. I don't have to worry about that with you though, Teresa.
Oh, no, that's not a problem. I actually was talking with Chris and I had her print me a new copy that has the account numbers on the left side. It's a little small, but I'll have to explain here in a second. The reason I did that is because Chris and I have been going through and doing some deleting of line item account numbers that we don't use anymore. Like we had one in here that was for unemployment, but we have a workman's comp line now. And the unemployment is from, way, way back when the organization started all their accounts here. So we took that one off and we had one for, some old grant or something that we haven't had any money in that line item for 10 years. Yeah, so we took that one out too. And then we did some consolidating. Let's see here. We consolidated, you will see on the old, I guess you won't see it because it's gone, but on the old account side, we used to have a line item for committee expense and sponsorship. Each one of those was like $150 or $300 in those line items. They weren't any big deal. And we consolidated those into some other line items that made sense, like sponsorship, which is what we used to use for things like the legislative forums, when we had those set up, if we had any expenses for, coffee or whatever it was, we would use that line item. And that went to 422, under education and training, because that education and training number should be used for everything from like us attending a conference that is useful to what we do, to things like any coursework we may take, or public forum type events that are educational to the public. And then the committee expense, we had used, I believe we used that for in the past, things like, if we had a Top of Iowa committee, there was a tourism committee at one time that we worked with. It was like a $300 a year membership or something, and it came out of that line item. Well, we moved that under employee mileage and subsistence for a couple of reasons. A, we're not part of that organization anymore, so we don't have any dues to them, and if we did, that should actually be coming out of the dues and membership line, $48,000. And so she moved it and consolidated it into employee mileage and subsistence because it could also potentially be used for things like if we needed to supply food for a committee meeting, like for example, our executive board meeting, something like that. And so she thought that it was better placed according to what code says under that item, 41.3. And then the final one that we consolidated, and this is a big one. Right now you'll see advertising 26.7, marketing I think is 26.8, and then there's a 40,000 which is printing and notices. Well, according to everything that she's looking at, the printing and notices line item, the 40,000, also encompasses printing of advertising as well as general advertising. So we took the 26.7 and the 26.8 advertising and the marketing website and put it under 40,000. And I know you're going to be confused about this because I had to go talk to her before I came over here too and say, okay, just so I understand it, this is what we did. But I just wanted you to understand before I start going through this, we've consolidated some line items. We have tried to streamline a few things so it makes a little more sense for the auditor's office when they're paying our bills, as well as for us for budgeting. So, okay, let's see. First and foremost, I want you to know, and you'll see at the bottom there on the spreadsheet I gave you, it's a 0.7% increase is what we proposed. The county contributions stay the same as we've done in past years. So Worth County's, you can see there at 50 and Winnebago's at 52.8. I don't have any intentions of changing that. Our cash balance, we bumped just a tiny bit this year, and then we kept our hotel motel tax about the same. The reason I didn't bump the hotel motel tax any and I bumped the cash balance is because when I looked at what we actually received last year for hotel motel tax, I think it was around 37 or 38,000. So I didn't want to go too much higher than 35 on the budget side for revenue, because that's not a constant figure that ebbs and flows dependent upon how many people are staying in the hotels in Worth County. So you can see the changes on the line items are highlighted here a little bit. We put in a 2% increase for both salaries. I have no idea. Did you get my email, Carla, for the Worth County Comp Board recommendations?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know if you guys...
Our comp board has not met yet.
Okay.
We meet the 29th.
Okay. Worth County's Comp Board gave recommendations of between 2 and 5%. I think it was 2% for the supervisors, and I didn't read, frankly, the rest of the article. The other increases were for other departments, like I think it was the Sheriff's Department and...
Sheriff's was like 5, the attorney was 4, and all the treasurer, recorder, auditor were
3. Yep. So I just put in a 2% because I knew that neither county was probably going to go very high on any increase, and that was fine. So 2% increase for the salaries, which of course in turn affects the FICA and the IPERS. And you can see here on the health insurance side, you'll see a decrease of almost 15%. Well, the reason for that is because I do not have family coverage any longer because my kids are adults. Yay! They have their own jobs, their own insurance. So we made that change, I think it was in August or September. And so for the next budget year, it'll actually cost our department less on the insurance side because I will have single coverage and just Melissa will have the family. So that actually goes down some. Everything stays the same until you get to that printing notices advertisement. The reason you see that increase is purely because we combine those line items. So last year, under printing and notices, well, with everything combined, printing notices, advertising, et cetera, it was 19.8 for those items. This year I have 25.3 because our actual last year for printing, between those line items, the printing, the advertising, et cetera, was almost 24,000. So I took our actuals from last year for those 3 line items and then combined them and put in what I thought we would need this year.
And the justification for your marketing, printing and stuff like that, most of that's being paid for out
Yes.
of the hotel motel tax out of Worth County.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the hotel motel tax is primarily paying not only for the second position salary, but for the advertising and marketing and printing.
If someone was here to ask,
Yep.
how do you quantify that? Well, it's already being paid for. by the
Exactly. Yep, it's coming from an
someone
outside
else.
source, so. Postage, mailing, everything stays the same there until you get down to, what does that say, property insurance?
Yeah.
And that was because last year was 369 actual expense, and so we had $50 in there for some reason, I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly why that happened, it doesn't matter, but when I saw the actual, I thought, well, we better budget 400 to make sure we're covered on that.
That's on our office.
Right. One little note also, right above there on the consultant line, it says consultant ED. We budget 5,000 every year for that. That it's been that way for the 17 years that I've worked for this organization. And those, again, as a reminder, that's the line item that we use for things like if we have to have an engineering report or a soil study or something like that for a potential prospective company. Or if we're working with the community on a water sewer project or something like that, and we have to have a report done, that's where that gets paid out of. Chris and I were just talking about this, because on your sheet, it says mapping GIS. And I told Chris, I said, that's not accurate, it needs to say consulting. And she said, well, that's not what that number is. So that, she's gonna get a new account number for the actual consulting line item, and the mapping GIS will go to 0 this year. Because initially when that happened, when the mapping GIS got set up, it was when we were remember we were setting up all the county-wide mapping and GIS stuff, and so each department had a contribution into that. Well, we don't do that anymore. So she's gonna get us a different account number on the consulting item. Oh, then also on the consulting item, and think about this while I explain the other 3 items here quick, but we need to figure out where we want to take out the Port Authority dues each year, because I don't have that on here yet.
Well, that's what I was wondering, it doesn't
Yeah.
appear to be here.
I don't have that on here yet because I
Would that be
wanted,
memberships?
well, it probably should come out of there, but I wanted to talk to you guys first, and then we have a board meeting here, the 23rd, I think it is. So, I thought we could finalize that particular item on the 23rd when both boards meet together, because we need to figure out, our last Port Authority meeting, we decided that each county's contribution should be $2,000 a year. And that's fine. I just need to figure out how you guys want to do that. Are they going to come from the counties, or are they going to come through our budget? It doesn't make any difference to me. We just need to figure out what we're doing. And so I do not have that amount on this budget right now.
So you got it scheduled for the 23rd, you said?
Yep, 23rd, 11:30 at our office. And that way we should be done no later than 1:30. In fact, we should be done probably about 1, but.
1:30, you said?
Yep. Let's see here. And then the last 3 items on here that you'll see a little bit of a change.
The 23rd.
23rd.
Yep, 23rd.
Yeah, as I said, normally on Mondays, aren't they?
Is that Monday?
No, it's a Tuesday.
Oh, well, it should be the 22nd then, sorry.
All right, there's a-
Yeah, I'm not looking at the calendar. I don't know, it's 22nd, 23rd, whenever you show up.
It's either our board meeting or their board meeting. So
Right, yeah, Monday or Tuesday, yep. No, it'd be that Monday. Dues and memberships have a decrease, and that, again, is because the actual year prior, we spent $2,975. Now, again, that's right now. I haven't factored in that other $2,000 per county for the Port Authority. So just be mindful of that. Data processing, we had a small increase. I bumped that by $200 because our actual year prior expense, we had budgeted $1,000, but the actual expense was $1,148. That's why I bumped it. And then the last item there, the office equipment furniture. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna I'm gonna try to get a laptop purchased before the end of this fiscal year. So we may not need it in the new fiscal year, this increase of $300, but I went from 1,500 to 1,800 in case I don't get, if we don't have enough budget funds in the end of this fiscal year to do it, we'll do it in July. My laptop is almost 7 years
At
old.
some
And
point, we may have to address Melissa's.
right. Well, I thought we had that resolved.
Well, we're paying for repairs on this one, but how long will it last?
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's true, I hadn't thought about that. We actually were just talking about that a couple weeks ago because there was something else that had, I don't know, something wasn't working properly, but she got it figured out. It was on internal issues, but, so yeah, again, like I said, I bumped it from 1,500 to 1,800, but the total overall increase for our entire budget, what I'm projecting right now without the $4,000 for the Port Authority dues of $2,000 per county, is $1,432. So it's 0.77% increase. And again, I did not factor in an increase for either county's contribution. We took that extra $1,432 out of our cash balance. So that's what we need to talk about on the 22nd is how do we want to handle those dues to the Port Authority? Which line item will we put them under if they come through our budget, et cetera. So my suggestion, and this is just my suggestion, you guys can decide however you want to handle this, is that if we're going to run them through our budget, that's fine. But I'm not sure if then that doesn't mean that instead of, 50,000, Worth County contributes 52. Those kinds of things. So again, that's up for discussion the 22nd, and you guys can decide that day how you want to handle those things, but I want you to be thinking about it before then. So, questions for me about what I've got down or why, or I tried to be as conservative as possible and keep everything status quo like we talked about at our last meeting, except for those small changes.
Why does Winnebago County pay 52 and Worth only 50?
Well,
The motels are in there.
They're actually paying a lot more because of the hotel and motel tax.
yeah, and it's become a
Sticky.
conversation point at each meeting.
I think they would like to have it all.
Oh,
If it was up to a couple of them, they take the reserves from the hotel and motel tax that's built up, not used, and pay their share out of that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for tourism.
Right.
You can't pay
they can't
other
take it.
things out of that.
Yep, because Iowa Code, the statute says that the hotel motel tax must be used for the purpose of tourism promotion, which also can be used for staffing, which is why we account part of that money to Melissa's salary, at least part of it. But, yeah, there's been discussion over that, and I think it was last January I detailed how much hotel motel taxes come in since it was put in place, and how much we budgeted each year versus how much carried over, and because they really wanted to know how much of that cash balance was theirs. And I was like, It used to be way back when I very first started working for Winworth-Betco, the contributions to our budget were based on population. So Winnebago County actually paid 60% and Worth County paid 40%. And then in 2003, when they drafted a new 2080 agreement with some changes on the budget side, it went to a 50-50 split because Worth County was having so much development happening and Winnebago County wasn't. And so ever since then, it'd been 50-50 until I think last budget year, wasn't it? So, yeah, that's why.
Concession, as long as they keep giving us the tourism money, because we can use the tourism money in Winnebago County, because Winworth-Betco is identified on the ballot as a recipient of those monies, and that includes both counties.
Yes, because if they ever wanted to change the structure of the Economic Development Office to be only Worth County, they would have to revote that hotel motel tax.
A lot of the economic development that's happened lately has been in Worth County.
Right.
So
They're
still getting their
benefit
out of their money.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always a sticking point.
It just stinks that our two hotels in Fort City are both
On the
across the
south
border.
side.
I
So
know.
I'm still
Along
trying to
with-
figure out
along
if we
with
were
Winnebago.
to add a hotel motel tax in our county, that's on top of four cities, right?
Well, and I have to do some checking on that, but I'm gonna be calling the Department of Revenue today or tomorrow
Because when I look
anyway.
at other bills, there's lots of taxes there.
I know, and because
Stacked up.
especially from your last billing, when you were, was that Cedar Rapids?
In Cedar Rapids, I had sent it to her, my bill in there included, what was it called?
I can't remember what it was called, but
Tourism,
there's like 3 taxes on there, and one was the hotel motel, the general tax, one was the state tax, and then there was this additional,
like a tourism fee is what
Yeah.
it was. And what they did all up to $2 fee per person.
per person, per room, per night,
Yeah, and that's how they generate even more tourism money.
yeah.
Wow.
And see, I've looked a
Very
little
few
bit,
people have done it.
I've looked a little bit at having a countywide hotel motel tax and what that would mean as far as revenue and those kinds of things, because we do have the hotel in Lake Mills, and, of course, then we have 2 in Forest City, but they're on the wrong side of the county. But that hotel motel tax also incorporates like B&Bs. Now, yesterday, because I was over at Worth County's meeting about a couple of things there with one of our companies at Manly, Merlin said, by the way, because he was looking into the Airbnbs, whether or not they paid hotel motel tax, and he said, I don't know if you know this or not, but they don't pay. And he said, but that just got changed. There's a new rule that came into effect in January of this year, that the Airbnb industry, they are supposed to be paying any local hotel motel tax. Well, it'd be the same for our county too. So places like Abel's Townhouse in Buffalo Center and what's the other one called over there?
Lola's Cottage,
Yes, Lola's Cottage,
and Buckholz.
Buckholz, and all potentially, probably not county conservation because they're governmental, but potentially,
Why wouldn't it be?
well, because
As
as
a rental place, they should be collecting tax.
it is, but as a governmental entity, they get that nonprofit status, so they're not necessarily subject to the hotel motel tax.
But it's passed through.
Robert does pay tax on those.
For the
He
lodging.
has to pay in
Huh.
to the Department of
Sales
Revenue.
Make a note of
tax,
that.
sales tax, so if he's paying sales tax, he should be paying the hotel motel tax.
Because I know that because him and Jane have to share a revenue number and they fight over the password all the time.
That's interesting because I know in the actual code, it says that nonprofits can be exempt. It doesn't say is or are.
From what?
From the hotel motel tax.
But
But
it's
again, it
pass-through.
says can be.
When it's a pass-through, I don't see how you can be exempt.
I don't know. But that's just, it says it in the code, because I've read that code for the hotel motel tax inside out and backwards because of what we were dealing with Worth County, so I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what it said. But I would assume it's, like LMEI and Lake Mills, we own the theater. Well, we own the buildings where Tell You What is and where the second screen is and where NGT is, but the only building that we've taken the opportunity of the nonprofit status is the primary main theater building. We pay taxes on everything else. And I would assume that can statement, can be exempt, is something like that a nonprofit could apply to the state and say, or the local entity, whoever it is, and say, well, we're nonprofit, so, we don't have to pay that hotel motel. But,
They're not paid.
well, right, but that's what I'm saying is that the statute says can be exempt. Doesn't say will be or is, just says can be. So there must be some sort of process to get that waived if you're a nonprofit. But anyway, yeah, this new statute has come into effect that affects the Airbnbs and all that too. And so I need to call Department of Revenue today or tomorrow to get a copy of the statute because Worth County as a board wants to send out a letter to the Airbnb businesses in their county and say, hey, we didn't know if you were aware of it, but there's a new statute in place and it does affect you. Here's the copy of the statute and please get your paperwork in as soon as possible to start paying your hotel motel tax. So, yeah, we would have the same thing here. But the problem is that a hotel motel tax has to be a ballot item and it has to be passed. I don't remember for sure, I'd have to look, but I think it's a 60% approval. So,
There'd be a lot of education involved,
yeah.
and local people aren't paying it
Right.
unless they're staying at a hotel.
right, traveling and pass-through visitors mostly, et cetera. Not that it doesn't affect some people locally, because, you know, maybe when people are coming to Lola's Cottage for holidays, their relatives are actually booking a room. I mean, I don't know, but
How does that work with, like, say, the Litton Motel, and they're booking it out for the month to contractors?
same thing. Contractors have to pay it.
Percentage.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that is, that's the one tax that, other than this one statement about the can be exempt, that's the one tax I've found that there is no flexibility.
All hotel and motel taxes have to be a percentage, or can it be a fee of $2?
Percentage. Yep. Although, see, that one that you paid,
That tourism.
that's different.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you sent me the article, that's a new thing.
Somebody figured out.
Someone
somewhere
figured
along
out
the
some
way.
loophole and no one has challenged it legally yet to say, well, wait a minute, you know, is that really fair?
But then they have a board that regulates how that money's spent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has to
That was in
be,
Cedar Rapids, you said?
Yeah.
yep,
And
And that's just a
Quad Cities
Cedar
are looking
Rapids
at it.
city thing.
Right, right.
right.
It benefits the people in that area.
Yeah, because aren't they the only ones in Iowa right now that have,
Well, I don't know, I haven't called Joe Taylor yet for Quad Cities, they were looking at it in the Quad Cities, and I know the CBE person down there, I should just call him and ask him.
yeah, call and ask if you can, because I'm still
If they
curious
did
about
it,
that.
If they didn't do it, why didn't they do it? How
Right,
does it work if they did?
right, exactly.